Hello, everybody, and welcome to Play Some Video Games, the only gaming podcast attempting to hit the gym harder than a Pokemon trainer. We thank you for joining us each and every week and spending just a little bit of your precious time with us. It is I, your host, Kevin. We are cured of our post-E3 hangovers, but we're still going to talk E3 tonight, but we promise it's the last time for this year. Joining me tonight, we've actually reunited the original four of Play Some Video Games. We have Donnie, of course.
Greets, Koopalings.
That was very, very timid of you. Not excited?
No, I mean, I'm excited to talk to Kyle again. It's been a long time since I've talked to Kyle. I'm trying to do this website stuff. So.
Oh, okay. so spoilers, Kyle's here too.
Oh man, it is so nice to be here with all of you. Episode 2 remix.
And then last but certainly not the least, Nathan, sir, how are we doing?
I am doing well. How are you, Kevin?
Oh, just still resisting the dark side, you know.
It is pointless to resist.
Set you up for that softball. So yeah, it's been a while since the four of us certainly have podcasted and done a normal format show, if you will. So let's catch up.
When was the last time all four of us were on?
That's a really good question. I didn't think about it until Kevin said that this was our little reunion.
I mean, it's been a while.
It's been a long time, I think.
It's probably since like the early shows, like teens, maybe even. I don't know.
It cannot have been that long.
I don't think it's been that long, but it's definitely been, I'd say safely, it's been half a year probably.
That's
true. In our first episode, I think Kyle was actually there in the ancillary, right? He was like fact checking us as we were going, and then on the second one, he was able to actually hop in because he had a microphone.
He had a microphone, yeah.
I wish Kyle was able to fact check us right now too. He was like, actually,
get on that, Kyle.
I'll see what I can do. I don't have the super speedy computer like Donnie does, though.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. All right, so let's check in. Let's talk a little about what we've been playing, because we have certainly not talked about anything we've been playing since E3. So it'd be nice to kind of, sometimes, occasionally, some of us, but you know. So actually, Nathan, why don't you just kick it off?
Oh, hi. I don't know what I mean. Since the last time I was on to actually talk about games, it's been a while. So I may have mentioned this before, but I doubt it. But I've been playing Injustice 2. Have played a ton of that. That's the game I played the most in the last month and a half, probably. I don't know. I can't remember exactly when it came out, but that feels about right. About a month and a half or so ago, maybe.
I think so. Yeah. Because it's been, we got Red Hood after a month, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I don't like Red Hood. Spoilers. I like him as a character, but I hate him in the game. So Injustice 2, fantastic. I have a few achievements left to get before I get to 1K. A couple of them are going to be hard to get. For me, there's a time-based achievement that you can get. It's like the one where you have to catch a train, and it's going to take me a while to get it because it's time-based. And the other one is completely randomly generated because it's dependent upon you getting a loot box ability for Selena Kyle, or for Catwoman. I don't know, I said Selena Kyle. For Catwoman. And I've gotten hundreds of loot boxes, and I still have not gotten that ability. So one of these days, maybe I'll get it. But yeah, a ton of that. Love the game. Fantastic. I think we have a review on playsomvideogames.com that you can check out that I was able to contribute to. I believe both Kyle, you, and Kevin did as well. Also played a game that Mo turned me on to called Late Shift. So have either of you guys heard of this game?
I have heard of it, but I don't know a whole heck of a lot.
Mo's been very hot hyping up this game. So I gave it a go. You can sit down and play through one playthrough in about an hour. And I was intrigued by the whole concept of it because what it is it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. So you go down and you can elect to do option A, B, or sometimes C. And your endings are all judging based on your continued play of the game. So I think there's like 7 or 8 endings. And I've only seen 2 of the endings so far, so I've played it twice. It's a great game. I'm actually I like the acting. I like the characters. It's something I want to see more from the studio to see what else they can do. And it made me actually buy another game on the sale right now called The Bunker. It's kind of the same kind of concept. I want to check that out. Same producer, not the same developer, so might have some similarities. Also played the first episode of Walking Dead Season 3, so I'm slowly starting to make my way through that. Strong start, as usual. Perfect Dark Zero. Blast from the past. Talk about the classics. I was just cycling through some of my games in my backlog, and I saw that I didn't have many achievements on Perfect Dark Zero for some reason. So I put it up to legendary, or not legendary, perfect agent mode, and did the first mission in that, and reminded myself of where we came from as far as first-person shooters. It's not okay. It's not terrible, but it's awful floaty. You know what I mean? A lot of those early shooter games kind of have this floaty feel to it, and it has that. But it's not bad. Surprisingly, it's playable. It's not terrible. I was figuring I'd go in there and it would just be unbearable. I couldn't even get through it. But I was surprised how playable it still is. So it's part of the rare replay pack. So if you have that, give it a go. It's in there. A lot of you might have gotten it for free by watching any of the E3 Xbox content on Mixer. And also have played Overwatch, trying to get into that a little bit. I have it on PC and on Xbox now. I've been getting better at that game. I'm kind of being the healer class. I don't really like the other classes except for the healer for some reason. They're kind of slowly starting to click with me what all the different classes will do and how they all jive. But healer is where I'm at right now. That's where I feel like I can actually bring some benefit to the team. And then Halo 5. Out of the blue, we had a game night, PSVG game night, pretty much. I think Josh got on there, Mo, Q, some other buddies. I think Ray from the community was out there. We were all playing some Halo 5. It was great. It's been a while since I played it, and that's probably the most multiplayer I've played in a year at least of Halo 5, because just, things happen and you move on from games and you just hardly ever get back to them. You always intend to. You never uninstall them just in case you want to get back to it. So I've been playing that, and in the course of playing these games, I finally cracked 100,000 gamer score.
Hey!
So I've only been on Xbox Live for 15 years, and I finally did it.
That's impressive, man. That's crazy.
Mo did that in the first week, but
Yeah. Mo was like, "There's gamer score in this thing. Give me all of them," and he got them in, like you said, a week. But yeah, it was cool. I mean, I've not really achievement hunted, to the extent Mo has for sure. For me, it just kind of naturally has progressed along and finally got there. I only seek achievements for games that I really enjoy and like Final Fantasy 15. I got the 1K in that. So I think it's probably the last game that I got all the achievements in. So I finally met that long-standing goal that I've had to finally eclipse 100K. But anyway, I've talked enough. That's me. So back to you, Kevin.
So you'll be happy to know, Nathan, I checked our fact-checking machine, and the last time the four of us were together was back in March on episode 64.
Dang it. And before
That's not
that,
too long ago.
No, it was right after the Switch launched. It's when
There you go.
Donnie tried to poison his daughter by making her lick the cartridge.
She hasn't done it since. She did it at one time.
Gee, I wonder why.
tastes like chips.
What kind of chips you're eating, but okay. So let's start to Donnie then next, man. What have you been up to? What have you been playing?
Dude, I've been playing some games over some E3. It's been
About time.
It's been like a month since I've been able to do like a check-in proper, right, with all the E3 coverage. As Kyle alluded to, though, first and foremost, I have a brand new computer. With all the lovely help of the PSVG staff, I've got this laptop that is straight monstrous in power. Should enable us to do all the live streaming stuff that we wanted to do in terms of recordings and whatnot for the website. So, maybe we'll look at doing, I don't know, overlays and cool graphics and things and stuff for streams later in the future. I still got to hook it up to all my consoles, but back to the check-in. And one thing that I want to do, and considering that it's after E3, it's kind of like a new season for the podcast. So Kevin, you can jump in here if you hate this idea. I want to make our check-in. I want to make our check-in feel less like a book report and more discussion based. So with that in mind, Kyle,
what he's saying is he hates what I did.
No. It's not. You know, it's not. It's not just what you did. It's literally what we always do. Like it's what we all do every week. It kind of feels like everybody just kind of gives like a book report, but then nobody asks any questions. Nobody there's no topic. There's no discussion. So I want to challenge everybody on staff every week when you do your check-in. Ask one question about a game that somebody else is playing.
Donnie, what are you playing right now?
Hold on, wait, no, we gotta go back to Nathan then. So I actually have one then. So
there you go. Let's do it. Yes.
So you were playing Perfect Dark Zero. Had you played Perfect Dark back on N64 by any chance? Did you have any exposure to that?
Oh yeah, I played Perfect Dark and GoldenEye a ton back on 64.
Okay, so did that bring back any of the nostalgia factor, or is like Perfect Dark Zero completely, totally different left field type thing?
Oh, Perfect Dark Zero is definitely, the nostalgia is a little bit there, but the mission that I played, you get the laptop gun and stuff like that in that opening mission, and so you have that stuff that kind of brings it back to that, but it doesn't really bring the nostalgia per se. Okay. Maybe if I went further on and got more missions under my belt for Perfect Dark Zero, but still also backwards compatible on Xbox One. You can play Perfect Dark, the original, because they brought that on 360, and so you can play it on Xbox One.
I'm not nostalgic about Perfect Dark at all. Is that just me? Is that weird?
Dude, I love that game. I liked it better.
It has nothing to do with loving it or not. I'm not nostalgic for it. Like when I think back to that era, like I want to play GoldenEye. I don't want to play Perfect Dark.
Maybe because I didn't do as much multiplayer, I liked Perfect Dark better as a single player campaign, but liked GoldenEye's multiplayer better.
Wait a second. GoldenEye had a single player campaign?
That's right, yeah. Like, who did that?
You were Pierce Brosnan.
You need friends, Kevin.
Dude, I had a Game Shark, and you could unlock all the Bond characters.
Yes.
That was fantastic.
When I think about GoldenEye, that's what I think about. Like during WrestleMania, my best friend came over, and we have a 64, and I've got GoldenEye. And when he found out we had GoldenEye in my son's room, he was like, screw watching the first half of WrestleMania. Like, we'll come back to this when the main event starts. Like, let's play GoldenEye. So like we totally played 4-player local co-op with my kids. So me and him and the kids, and we had like paintball mode and big head mode and laser mode and just all of that. That's what I'm nostalgic for, not Perfect Dark. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hating. I do agree. Perfect Dark's the better game. Like GoldenEye wasn't the best of game. When you go back,
Dark, you could put the bots in though. So if you didn't have anybody to play with, you could put the bots in.
Yeah, so that's why Kevin liked it better.
Yep, it's true.
When you go back to that control scheme though, and you try to move those with the C sticks or the C buttons.
Oh yeah,
basically like the Switch is analog of today. It's weird. Like it really throws you for a loop. That's a weird way to control. But in lieu of what I wanted to do, Kyle, I wanted to have a discussion with you.
I'm sure you do.
About a game that I'm playing.
Okay.
And that's Nier Automata.
Oh, okay. I thought it was for sure it was going to be about Horizon, but yeah, well, let's
No. I'm going to leave that for the Slack chat. I'm going to leave that behind me. But Nier Automata, man. Have you beaten it?
I am right at the end of my first playthrough, but I have not officially beaten it and gone through my second playthrough.
Can I get a ruling on the pronunciation of this title?
I believe it's Automata, but that's me.
See, I said Nier Automata.
Automata.
That is also valid.
Kyle, I'll allow it.
Everything is valid other than what Donnie said.
I agree.
I thought I said what you said.
No.
What? Okay.
You said Automata.
Yeah, you said Automata.
I'm pretty sure he asked for a BLT.
Onomatopoeia.
You just call it Nier. We'll know what you're talking about because I know you're not talking about the old one. So
okay, so I just got to the castle,
and
I've been doing all kinds of screenshots like all weekend from the game, and I'm actually kind of really enjoying it. To the point, to touch back on your Horizon comment, I kind of wanted to jump in the Slack chat and just write some outlandish remark and go that Nier is better than Horizon.
I don't think that's outlandish at all.
Then I played it for 5 or 6 hours, and I kind of do. But hey, I really like Nier, but to compare it, like it's hard because Nier kind of feels like an old game.
It definitely does, but I don't think saying that if somebody is like, oh, I think Nier is a better game than Horizon, I don't think that's inaccurate or outlandish at all.
Here's the way that I'd like to preface it, and you tell me if you agree. I think it's a more interesting game. I'm more interested by Nier and like what Nier has to say than I did Horizon. I think that's why I've been kind of enamored with it, because I haven't been able to put the game down since I like picked it up. I've been playing this game nonstop for like 4 days.
I think Horizon has an interesting but overall safe story. I think Nier has an interesting and very reflective and contemplative, and it doesn't apparently too, like when you continue on, it plays things even less safe than it does the first playthrough. So I would agree with you on that overall for sure.
So one of our followers on Twitter said, I'm on my 3rd playthrough now, so explain to me why I have to play the game 3 times in a row.
It is different every time, and it actually explains more of the story each time. And the further the playthroughs, the more additional playthroughs, you kind of get more layers pulled back. You play as different characters. It's not the exact same game every single time
it's
you play
different.
it. Yep.
That's awesome. I'm really enjoying the game. Like, I'm glad that I bought it. I'm really enjoying playing it. It's nowhere near as pretty as Horizon at all. It looks like a game that you played on PlayStation 3.
Mm-hmm.
But Kevin, it does this really cool stuff where it's like for most of the, like 70% of the game, you're in this like open world, like Xenoblade experience where you're running around very Xenoblade like, I'll say, like you're running super fast. So you can like jump over buildings and stuff. Like, it's crazy. And then it jumps into these like scripted segments where it's like a 2D side scroller with like platforming elements. And then there's even these parts where it's like Star Foxy and you're actually doing like some jet fighting. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, if I put this into these words for you, maybe you'd give it a try. Like, cause it's actually kind of a lot of fun.
It's just weird enough for Kevin.
It is. The open world part of it, I don't know, Kyle. I don't know how far I am or not, in terms of a playthrough. But like I said, I'm at the castle in the forest. I just got to the Android and I stopped it to come podcast. The open world's like really bland. Like, there's not a whole lot there outside of just doing some button mashing, which is fun. At any point do I get to jump into my suit and like free fly? Because that's what I really want.
Whereas not part of a mission or like a specific
I just want to like fly from this side of the map to that side of the map.
Not that I remember, but I could be misremembering.
Okay. Well, we may have to review cast this or something later, because I'm definitely into the sci-fi-ness. It's like, I don't know, it's like got parts of the Matrix in there, and there's like some iRobot. I mean, it's definitely, it surprised me. I'll put it this way. I feel like I got sucker punched by it, because when I first booted it up, I was like, dude, this game looks kind of ugly. Because it is rough. I mean, it is rough. It looks like, everything's like kind of like all the textures are like, they're not even like high res textures. Like, you seen like, you look at some of the buildings and stuff, it's just like a flat color. It definitely, and it looks like it was almost like intended to be that way. Although I want to say, I kind of feel like maybe it's unfinished. Like, it could have been a lot more if they had just put a lot more time into it.
Rumor was that game was actually done a couple months before it was shipped, but they held it to ship it a little bit later. I think it is an aesthetic they're going for, and an aesthetic that Platinum often does, for better or for worse. Because even if you look at like their smaller titles, if you look at Transformers Devastation and stuff, like the environments in those games are just bad.
That's true,
Just ugh. So I don't think it, and granted this was done in conjunction with Square, but I just don't think it was a lot of emphasis there in the environments, other than like in general, it's let's set a mood with it. But then after that, it's like all about the story and the combat, and that's what I think they focused on.
And overall, I did encounter some jank that I
every once in a while, yeah.
Yeah, I almost quit the game yesterday, where I got to the end of a mission, and then my objective marker never moved forward.
Yep, that happened to me too.
Okay, and I was like, okay, I'll go back to the camp. And I went back to the camp, and the objective marker stayed right where it was. And like, I just started walking around. I was like, I don't know what to do. So I turned it off, turned it back on, and it still was like that. So I looked up a guide, and I started watching like YouTube, and then like it didn't work for other people. And then today I was like, all right, I'll try it. And then I booted it up, and it was fine.
Yeah, I just reloaded my save, and it worked right away. So, but no, there's a little bit of that in it for sure.
But yeah, if it would have been fun, I would have come with more. I would have quit, because I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This is ridiculous. This game's broken. I'm not replaying that, because it was right after the big Goliath Gundam giant thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's pretty much. I think that's exactly what it was for me too. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. See, game breaking bugs aren't just exclusive to me, guys.
Nope.
For once, huh?
For once.
Yeah. So there you go. As Kyle kind of alluded to already, I beat Horizon Zero Dawn since the last time I did a check-in. I also beat Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia since the last time that we did a check-in. I did both the demos for Mytopia and Ever Oasis. I think we're all buying Mytopia, those of us with 3DS systems, because that game is freaking awesome. That is 3DS's next best game, and I'm super excited about it. And that's pretty much it. I did some retro stuff and messed around with some stuff. I booted up Ocarina of Time 3D for some reason. I don't know.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I started in the Master Quest, and I went through the Deku Tree, and I just turned it off.
You're like, yeah, I don't need to do this again.
I was just bored or something. I don't know.
All right. Let's see then. I guess we'll go Kyle.
So I'm not going to cover everything that I've played since our last regular check-in. I'll just highlight a few things. I also have been playing Injustice 2. There's only one character that I'm any good with, and that's Supergirl. Supergirl for the win. She's my only character at level 20.
I believe you mean Power Girl.
I do often play with the Power Girl skin. That is true.
We all know why, Kyle.
Shader.
We know why.
I don't know why.
Yeah, no, it's an inside nerd joke. Sorry, Donnie.
Yeah. But so great game. It is fun. I also am not a huge fan of Red Hood. I'm not good at fighting games, so I can't play with balanced characters. They have to be super fast or super strong. Anyone who's balanced, I am not good with because I have to lean on what they're good at. Still playing through Lego Harry Potter, but I have now started years 5 through 7.
Oh, nice.
So playing that with the wife. We got to a point where we have 199 of the gold bricks in the first one. Can't figure out where this last gold brick is. So we have all the characters other than Voldemort, because you can't get Voldemort until you have 200 gold bricks, but everything else is 100% done, other than we cannot find that last gold brick.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating. And like, I've gone through and double-checked lists, and I'm like, okay, and then there's one that we still have for a gold brick indicator that's like, hey, you have a gold brick here. And I'm like, yep, but the way that we're supposed to get it, that stuff is not here to do. So I'm really hoping that I'm not getting that I'm not gonna not get the plat because of a bug, because that would be really frustrating, because that's literally the only thing I have left to do in that one. But hey, it's Lego Harry Potter. It's fun. Also just started playing Nex Machina from our friends at Housemark. This game is incredible. If you enjoy twin stick shooters, this is definitely the best work Housemark has done since Resogun, which really only means Alienation. But this game is incredible, though. It's Housemark doing their stuff at their best. I mean, easy is like, they're like, hey, everyone play on easy first. I got through about the first 3 levels or so okay, and then the last 3 levels just destroyed me on easy. But I got through it. I mean, I made it through, and I was able to quote-unquote beat it. But now, you know, the high score runs start, and then, you know, I have 3 more difficulties, plus multiple other modes. So it is fantastic. I hope to do a review for that in the next week or 2. But it's more Housemark goodness. So if you've enjoyed their past work, I definitely recommend it. It's really, really good. And then I was looking at my backlog, and of all the things I have to play and finish up, including I have to finish Nier, and I have to finish Yakuza, all these things to do. So what did I decide to do? I decided to replay through Uncharted. So I started with Uncharted 1, and I'm replaying. I actually just finished Uncharted 1 again today. I actually have never gotten the platinums in it, so I'm pretty close to getting the platinums. So I might just go ahead and do the platinum run here and do my brutal run to get that taken care of. But I was
How
like,
do you
hey,
feel about Uncharted 1?
Uncharted 1 is fine.
Okay, that's acceptable. I'll accept that.
Yeah, it's fine. I think it's I like Uncharted 1 more after playing Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3, but only because of the things you learn about the character, not necessarily the gameplay.
Yeah.
It's the hardest trophy for me in the first game is that there is a trophy for getting 75 kills in a row without dying, which I almost never have an issue with, other than I fall because I jump to something I think I can jump to, but I can't make it. Has nothing to do with people shooting me and killing me. Yep. Everything for me being like, oh, can't jump off that ledge that way. Okay. And I feel like most of that is taken care of in 2 and 3. So 1 is fine.
The 8,000 enemies couldn't get you, but the cliff did.
That pesky cliff every time. So, but yeah, so that's what I have been playing then. Like I said, worked on that. So I'll finish up my brutal run and then move on to Uncharted 2, or maybe I'll move Nier up and move that into rotation so Donnie and I can do a review cast for it. But that's
Every
what I've been
time
playing.
I hear people say Nier, I think of that Sesame Street Grover sketch where it's like Nier.
Four. Yeah.
I don't.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's
I
Nier.
don't
He runs
know
up to the
this.
screen.
I think
No.
isn't that Vita like social network called Nier?
Maybe.
Few.
I
Few
stumped
far between.
the Lord. Look at that. He's like, oh.
Well, no. Here's the thing: is like, I never played my Vita like social. Like, I have no idea.
Quote of the show: I never played my Vita from the
There
Lord
you
of the
go.
Island.
We're gonna isolate that.
I said I never played my Vita socially in multiplayer games. So I did bring it to me with.
Correction, you did say I never played my Vita. ... But that first part did happen.
Right, that is true.
No, so I think, and I may
Fake
be wrong.
news.
I think I may be
Hashtag
wrong.
fake news.
Fake news.
But Kevin, I think Nier was PlayStation's attempt to like Street Pass. But yeah, it was like their version of Street Pass, but it was weird. It had like this maps integration, and like you didn't get like Street Pass games. You just got like, I don't know, like icons or stickers or something. Like I tried to figure it out, and I really couldn't. I didn't. To be honest with you, I tried to figure it out and didn't even understand what was happening. I was like, I really don't even really know what's going on with this thing. I don't know if it's still there or not. I should grab the Vita.
So I just want to point out, Nathan, I appreciate your joke, even though we're the only two people that find it funny or get it. Maybe
That's
maybe
fine.
a listener will get it and tweet at us and just let us know. Just let us know, anybody, if you got the joke as well, because I
PS
really remember
Nier
that.
app. It's a real thing.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Sesame
No,
Street.
I know that, but I'm
more important
I'm
thing, Donnie, come on,
disregarding the
focus.
Sesame Street and bringing it back to gaming.
All right, gaming it is. Fine, I'll go
There
next.
are Sesame Street video games, aren't there?
There is.
Are
yes.
there?
Oh, dude, I had one on Atari back in the day.
Okay, that
Um,
makes sense.
Yeah, there was. All right, so I'll go next. I'm playing Injustice 2 as well. I, unlike everybody else, really like Red Hood, but I think that's only because I forced myself to become good with him, not because it was natural and by any means necessary. Like Kyle, I prefer the super fast characters, so like Green Arrow, Blue Beetle, those are ones I traditionally liked, but I forced myself to enjoy Red Hood, so I've gotten to be quite good with that. Other than that, I played the Metopia demo as well, was really caught off guard by that and enjoyed it a lot.
You're going to be playing that 3DS.
Oh, I totally will be.
You're
I
going
have
to be
been
playing that 3DS in July and in September. It's not dead.
Nope, it's not dead. Yeah, it was a surprise. I hope people give the demo a try because yes, you may have been skeptical about it, but try that demo out first and see if you're still skeptical after that, because that totally turned me around on that completely. And it also turned me completely around on Ever Oasis, which I was excited for, and now I'm like, okay, I'll probably still play it eventually, but I'm by no means in a rush for it now. So I think I dodged a bullet there where I'll pick up Metopia right away and catch Ever Oasis later instead of the vice versa. Still
I feel bad for Caroline.
Yeah, I don't, man.
She really loves Ever Oasis, man, and I played it. I don't get it either. Like
It's okay, but it's not. I don't know. It didn't seem to be the next big thing that they were kind of hyping it up to be early on when they showed it in those directs.
feels time consuming.
Yeah,
And I have Stardew Valley for that coming apparently.
that's right. Well, maybe we don't know. We've been waiting on that for a while, but yeah. Still pecking away at Tales from the Borderlands. I think I'm on episode 4, maybe. So I'm digging that, even though I never really dove into Borderlands too much.
Wait, you're just now getting to that?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was pecking away some of my back catalog. I was looking one day on the PlayStation in between Injustice while waiting for Red Hood to drop, and I was like, okay, let me dig into something, and I decided on that before I peck away at the Handsome Jack collection, because I do have that as well. So
I'm envious of you because I really enjoyed I've never played a Borderlands game, so I have no clue who any of the characters are or anything. I have no affinity for it.
Yep.
But the actual game itself or the Telltale game is great. Like I laughed.
Oh yeah.
And I found myself really enjoying the characters. I can't remember what it was, but at one of the first episodes, there's like this bro scene between the two guys. And it was just
Bro. They said it like 20 times in like a 30-second period, and they like fist bumped. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It's a great game.
It is.
Are there
It
Batman
totally is.
levels of jank in this one too?
No, I've had a couple. Nothing Batman level. No, nothing Batman level. I've had a couple hangups which I think I've seen this happen in all Telltale games, where like the scene will end So like the animation stops, but like the voice acting keeps going for a second or two afterwards. I've seen some of that where like things don't line up perfectly, but nothing
That's in
where
every Telltale game.
yeah, but I've had nothing like Batman where I was punching, a set of
You
floating
see the
eyeballs.
grimace on Nathan's face? He's just sitting there like some evil lord, just like, just every one of them.
I will tear them apart.
I mean, I wrote them off. I wrote them off with Batman, and then I did 2 episodes of The Walking Dead, and I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm done with it.
That's all you've played, Donnie, is just the Batman? And
I did the entire season of Batman, and I shared all the screenshots and everything that came with it. And then I did the first 3 episodes of the new Walking Dead, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, but you've played other Telltale games though, right?
Yeah. I did all
yeah,
the Walking Dead ones. Yeah. But I have the Borderlands one, and I've heard for a long time that a lot of people think it's really good, but I just kind of...
It's really good.
Should I play it?
Yes.
Yes. It's funny, even if you don't understand. Like I said, I've never dove into Borderlands that much.
And I have, actually. I like Borderlands.
So you might like it even more, but even from outside perspective, having not played them really, it's very, very funny. Like that's the thing. The characters are unique. They're funny. They have their own personalities. You're attacking the whole Tales aspect of it from 2 different perspectives. You basically play as 2 different characters throughout the series.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny how their stories intertwine and go off on their own path. So it's a lot of fun. I recommend it.
I really like the storytelling
on
in this
Xbox.
one.
Yeah. What was that?
I got it for free on Xbox. That was like
So I
week ago,
got it
just
free on PS Plus. So
yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, digging that. Today, weirdly enough, so my family went to the beach, and I just hang out at the beach house because I'm not a beach person because I'm a redhead and I burn in 10 seconds. So I kind of hung back and I was, just working on some site stuff. I put up my my review for the game I want to talk about next after this, but then I was kind of like, all right, what else is there to do? And I was like, you know what? Let me check out the ECS, the Esports Championship Series, had the Counter-Strike grand finale today in London. So I was like, you know what? Let me watch some of this. I've never been the person, like, I would never watch esports and be like, oh, I'm not going to sit there and watch other people play PC games. Dude, they're nuts. Like, oh my God. I don't know what to say. Like, I would never find myself getting excited for this kind of stuff, but I was like rooting for a team, FaZe Clan, because of G Fuel. They're tied with them. Rooting for them, and I mean,
some brand loyalty going in deep.
Well, I mean, you got to root for some sort of team. So I was like, okay, I know those guys, I recognize those faces, I'm going to root for them. So and the level of intensity is kind of mind-boggling to see them play this game like so, hardcore. Like it's crazy. Like you have the crowd there, and the crowd's all into it. You have announcers for it. They set up like a unique stream feed for it, which is really kind of cool, where you're like, it'll jump from perspective of each player, but you actually can see like the player, kind of like when you watch like a YouTuber play, you're able to see them actually there and everything like that. And it's just crazy, like the way the game balances out each round, and you have to spend money. You earn money by getting kills, but then you have to spend that money to get your weapons for the next round. And if you die, you lose your weapon, kind of deal. So there's a lot of strategy behind it, which I didn't really think about when doing these kind of things, but it actually got me really almost interested in playing first-person shooters online. That's how excited I was for it. So it was pretty cool. So
that's actually really funny because I actually love watching people play Counter-Strike. I've never played it ever in my entire life, but I love watching, especially pros play Counter-Strike. I don't know why. I love watching it. I have no desire to play it, but
now I played Counter-Strike way back in the day, not like global, whatever the new one's called, Geo. But like I played like the old Counter-Strike back in the day, and it was crazy. And but to see these guys at this level play, it was just absolutely insane. But yeah, same thing. But it got me pumped and be like, maybe I should get into Call of Duty or Battlefield or something like that. But I don't know. It was pretty cool. So if you've never given it a chance, at least try it out. They air different things on TBS. Has stuff to it. I know they just did the Street Fighter V championship and stuff like that. But yeah, something I never thought I'd be excited for and rooting for, like the new level of nerdiness for me. But I've apparently breached that and gone beyond the pale. So, and then lastly, the last game I played was Oceanhorn, which I know Kyle played as well, and he actually reviewed it for the site originally. Now, Kyle, I forget, did you play it on Vita or did you play it on PS4, right?
I played it on PS4. Vita came later. Yep.
That's right. Vita came out later, and then it just came out for the Switch just this past Thursday, actually. And they were kind enough to send us over another code so we could try it out on the Switch, which I did. You can head over to the website right now, playsomvideogames.com, read the full review. But overall, I thought it was a really cool game. It was definitely heavily inspired by The Legend of Zelda, which is fine.
It's just a ripoff. I mean,
No,
there's nothing
see-
wrong with that, but it's a
No.
complete ripoff.
It somewhat is, and normally when you see like complete ripoffs, especially if now see, I know Donnie,
It's
maybe
a good one.
well, maybe you'll start getting into some PC games now with this new computer. Maybe you'll see a lot more things that are direct ripoffs on PC. This, while at its core may seem like a ripoff to you, you can tell it's just inspired when you see stuff that like blatantly rips off things. So this was a little bit different. Really enjoyed it. But yeah, overall, good game. $15. It's a great game for summer gameplay. Let me just pick up and play. It's something light. You don't have to really dig into it. But I will say it played perfectly in handheld mode and in dock mode on the Switch, which is nice to see from something that was ported from originally a mobile game to then consoles to then Vita to now the Switch. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a blast with it, and I recommend it. I mean, it's only $15 right now, so pick it up, give it a shot if you like adventure games. There is some puzzle solving to be done in there too. Like I said, don't expect a Breath of the Wild experience or anything like that by any means, but it's a great little indie game that just continues showing that even though third parties haven't really shown up for the Switch yet, the indie market is there and putting out some real quality things for everybody to see as well. So,
have you seen footage of Oceanhorn 2 yet?
I have. Now, Oceanhorn 2 obviously looks way, way better than Oceanhorn 1.
Yeah, it looks like Skyward Sword, right?
Yeah. It definitely ramps up. So when that drops, I'll be excited for that. And hopefully they launches multi-platform and doesn't do the whole staggered release thing they did again with this one. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, for $15, it was a good, you can probably get about 8 to 10 hours out of it overall, depending how many side quests and exploration you do. You can't really explore too much. You can't go too far off the beaten path. It kind of directs you for the most part. But some of the puzzles aren't fully in your face obvious. You might have to kind of look around to get them. So it can take you a little bit longer to get through some of those. But overall, a good game. So yeah, check out the full review on the website. And
So no questions or anything.
Yeah, no questions, I guess.
Well, you brought up your online multiplayer. One of the games that I forgot to mention is I got my Xbox One S during E3. Nathan and I discussed on the E3 show, and I've been playing Battlefield 1 because that DLC hooked me. That DLC looked really cool, and I wanted to get into it. So I did all of those little vignettes. And Nathan, I agree with you. Was it you? You said like the plane was your favorite one?
Yeah, that was the best one.
Yeah, the plane's really fun. And I like the tank one too.
Tank one was okay.
I gotta say, it's really cool. Not as cool as I think I may have hoped. Maybe I went in with like some crazy high expectations from all like the footage and everything that I saw in that trailer. I was just like really overexcited. I got murdered online.
Well, you got
Absolutely slaughtered online.
The content that you saw that was highlighted in the conference won't be out until
Right.
later this year.
It makes me a little afraid to play Battlefront now. Because I was like, oh man, Battlefront, I want to play Battlefront. And then I hopped online and like I moved like 10 feet and they're like, you're dead. It's like, well, that's not fun.
Battlefront's a different beast.
I hope so.
And it's always different when you pick a game up 6 months in.
Yeah, I think that's what. I think I absolutely. That was the first thing I thought. I was like, well, these people have been playing this nonstop, whereas I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn,
Or not playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
No, I beat that game.
Well, now you did.
No, I did. I loved it. It's a good game. Okay, it's a good game. It's just not amazing. That's all. That's my only argument.
Donnie, are you telling me I should just throw it out the window right now and not even play it?
No,
Yes.
you absolutely should play it.
Donnie said light it on fire. Kill it with fire.
See what you do. See what you do, Kyle.
By the way,
I
Donnie,
didn't say anything.
I blame you and Devin. It's for what you didn't say.
Donnie, since you got that new PC, I wonder if you tried one of those Telltale games on it, what your experience would be like.
Ooh, that's a good idea. I played PC games on the PC that I had before this and replaced it, and they ran fine. Nothing that would say otherwise. It ran better, definitely, than consoles. And I've had this conversation with Jason and Lucas a bunch. I just don't like playing on my PC. I don't know.
I don't
It's
either.
weird. Like there's really no good excuse. It's just like my PC. It's a laptop, but it's primarily a desktop. Like I have an office. It sits right here. It never moves. Like I have a Chromebook that I take with me to and fro. And it's hooked up to these monitors, and I've got good monitors. I don't want to sit here and play games, and I don't want to play games on this monitor, and I don't want to. It's very like, I don't know. It's like isolationist with me. You guys remember a lot of times I play games with the kids, and if I'm not playing with the kids are watching me play. Like my kids watch me play a lot of Horizon. My son has watched me play like all of Nier, and he's sitting there with me, and he's like giving me pointers, and it's not co-op in the sense that he's playing with me, but he's actually kind of partaking in it. You know, he's like, can you jump off that building? And I'm like, I don't know. Let's go try it. You know, it's kind of that type of stuff. And when I'm sitting on my PC, I just feel like maybe some of that's kind of lost. I don't know. It's not a good excuse. I don't know why. I have this expensive machine that's predicated on playing games, and I probably won't. The only time I ever really play games on my PC is usually if I'm traveling. You know, like if I go on the road for an extended period of time, like if I go on vacation or something, or if I go to
tour?
Houston, if I go to Houston for the Super Bowl or something like that, if I'm gone for 3 or 4 days, it's a lot easier for me to throw my laptop in my bag and do something on it than is to pack up a console or anything. But I mean, I have the Switch, so I mean that's really not a big deal either. But in the games that I do usually play on the PC are stupid. Like we play a lot of the Pokemon card game online. And like the kids will like come and sit down and we'll boot it up. And it helps, especially Jack, because he's so young, it helps him like get used to playing without us having to constantly tell him everything. He can just kind of do it by himself and learn. But long answer to your question, Nathan, I don't really have like an urge to, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't know. I think it's just like ingrained into me. I'm conditioned to want to play on my console because that's what I've done for 15 years. And that's kind of just what I don't know.
Donnie, you don't have to like it, but you have to test it for science.
For science?
For science.
I should play The Walking Dead. Does it get any? You said are you done with it yet? Like Walking Dead?
The first episode of season 3.
Oh, so you're just in the first. Okay, never mind. Because if it's like, if you're telling me by the time it's done, if you're like, you have to play, it's amazing, Clementine, this, all this, then I might. But from what I played, without trying to spoil anything, I was just like, it's not the Clementine that I want, and I'm just done with it. You could
try. Like, if you wanted just to try one, the Michonne one, did you play that?
I didn't. No.
It's like a standalone. It's 3 episodes. You could try that.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I never played that.
Some of them are on sale right now at the Steam summer sale too. So
yeah,
you get like $3 or something.
You guys are trying real hard to get me to install Steam on this thing.
This is for science, Donnie. For science. Also for science.
Well, if you need science, my old computer could not record our web page if anything was going on it, and we've been recording this for 40 minutes and I haven't dropped a frame, and my CPU is at 4%. I'm at 4.4% while I'm live streaming at the exact same time. Like, this thing is a monster. I absolutely love it.
I want you to also, for science, and because your PC is obviously so great, install Forza Horizon 3 because you own it digitally, right?
Oh, yes. Now we're talking. I was gonna say one of the prefaces that I made in our chat when this came up was the Xbox Play Anywhere titles. Like, my real thing is kind of like Steam, and like how you got to install the client, and then I got to turn it off from like the startup. It's just like all this stuff that I don't like about Steam, and right, and you got to log in and the 2-step verification, all that. My Play Anywhere, no, that's a different story. My Xbox app is right here in the toolbar. I can just click that bad boy and install Horizon and play it right away. Mm-hmm. And now that is something I might definitely do for sure.
Because I'm curious what it'll probably look either the same, if not better, on your PC.
Look better? I mean, it looks great
already.
What's
your graphics driver on your laptop?
You'd ask me
driver,
that.
Your card.
The card is it's GTI 1050.
A 1050,
1060, something like that.
That'll probably look a little bit better than the Xbox One S because you're.
Is that even noticeable? Like, I don't know if I can notice Horizon looking a little bit better. Like, it looks amazing.
Well, it depends on your monitor too, your resolution.
It is a GTX 1050.
Yeah, I would install it and see what you can do, especially like if you're going on a trip and you want to play some Forza or something on.
There
on
we
the road.
Go. Yeah.
I mean that makes sense. Just grab a controller and take it with you and plug it in on the USB, and you're good to go.
I completely forgot to mention that I have been playing that Hot Wheels DLC too.
Oh, so good.
It is so good. and because I bought that pass, I never downloaded the ice thing either.
Ooh, Blizzard Mountain?
Yeah, my son likes the mountain more than Hot Wheels, which I thought was
really
surprising. Yeah, because we bought the Hot Wheels, like we really downloaded it for him. We were like, hey, it was the first thing I did was like, here's a controller. And he thought it was cool. He liked racing his car, but he wanted to take the Hot Wheels cars elsewhere.
Did he go by the dinosaurs and stuff on the Hot Wheels track?
I don't know. I didn't watch him the whole time because it was during E3. But the other night I sat
love it.
down and played with it too, and it was like an event. You drive up to the event and then you're in the Hot Wheels thing. He wanted to take the Hot Wheels car just like cruising,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of the thing that like turned him off, I think. From whereas the Blizzard, like he can take the truck with him and just keep going other places. So that was cool. I also completely forgot to mention Kevin had been playing ARMS. But the reason I forgot to mention
I was hoping you weren't going to mention it.
I haven't played ARMS as much as Seth and Jason have playing ARMS, but just like Dev's giving me Horizon stuff, you got to stop giving me stuff on ARMS, man. ARMS is a good game. What is it?
I've seen some tweets that the new patch just dropped for ARMS 1.1 just dropped today actually, and people are asking if it added fun because that's what the game was missing. And that joke actually wasn't from me, so surprisingly.
Just haters. I don't get it.
It's a very divisive game from what I've seen. People either love it or they still just hate it.
All the reviews were really positive on it. Like actually kind of more positive on it than I had expected. Now I'm not here to tell you it's the second coming of video games. Like we've been over this. I don't think it's that amazing. I think Seth likes it more than I do. But to say it's not a good game or not a fun game, I think is harsh because I've enjoyed it. I've had fun with it. I just haven't played as much as them. What I would like to do, not that this includes you at all, but I would like to, I'd like to schedule a multiplayer night this week. So that's something I want to do tomorrow, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, and get Seth and because Jason and I have been playing together on lunch breaks, which has been a lot of fun. And the Grand Prix, which everybody made fun of when it was like announced, like this is the single player mode. The Grand Prix I've actually played the most. Has anybody explained that to you? No?
No.
It's just
because they don't bother trying to talk to me about ARMS. They know better.
The Grand Prix is like very a la Street Fighter, right? So you go into a little campaign. There's not much story, but the presentation's like very Splatoon. There's like this little TV like robot thing, and it does a little rigga, and like stuff appears. Yeah. But you got to fight everybody on the roster, right? And then you fight them all, and you get to the end, and you fight Max Brass, who's like the champion. He's got a championship belt. And he's like in this ring, and this champion stuff everywhere, and it's very funny. And then, but there's levels to it. So you start at level 1, you work your way through all the fighters, you go to level 2, all the fighters, like all the way up to level 10. And I absolutely got crushed on like level 3. So kind of like what Kyle was alluding to with the new Housemarque game, like there's a lot of challenge there. And I know that's something that Seth and Jason have been just like going back and forth on over and over and over again. They're constantly, I'm at level 4 and I'm at level 5 and I'm at level 6. And I can only imagine when we do this online ARMS battle night, and we'll stream it. I'll stream it for everybody to laugh at me because I'm sure they'll just crush me. Because Jason always beat the crap out of me at Smash. And then the other day at ARMS, he beat me like 5 matches in a row. And I was just like, well, same old. Jason likes to beat the crap out of Donnie in a fighting game. And then though, Kevin, I beat him. I beat him 1 match and he was like, whoa. And I was like, see, if I had been streaming that, nobody would ever believe me that it actually happened.
It wouldn't have happened if you were streaming. That's why.
No, but I enjoy the volleyball and basketball. I'm the casual gamer that's not good, and I enjoy the volleyball, especially the volleyball.
It's good. I'm glad you guys are all enjoying it. It's fine. It's just not for me. And, once Splatoon comes out, you'll see how quick people drop off that game, I think.
And I think that's fair. I think it's fair.
And we'll see. Yeah, like I said, it's fine. I'm excited for people that are happy for it. That's great. I'm always a proponent of Nintendo having another hit in their hands, so that's fine. It's just this one didn't resonate with me, and that's okay. But yeah, you know what? We've been talking like an hour just about us catching up. So you've heard enough from us, boys and girls. So let's check into some messages and hear from you guys. Our first question comes in from Rob, and he wants to know, what were our overall thoughts on E3 this year? Were there good presentations? Did you feel a little let down, et cetera, et cetera? So I guess we'll just kind of pose the question as, what did you guys think of E3 overall? Was it as good as the past? Was it better? Et cetera, et cetera. Let's go to Donnie first.
As we mentioned in our little recap show, I thought this year's E3 was great. I really did. I think everybody across the board had very solid, if not great, presentations. I think like the common buzz is for people to say that they're let down. And I feel like the common part of that, Kyle, is the PlayStation fans are saying that they were let down. And I think that's kind of like when you make noise based off these grand announcements that are far away from happening, at some point the correction has to, like, the curve has to come back to earth, right? You can't constantly, there's no more Final Fantasy 7s and Shin, like you can't keep that up every year. Like at some point you run out of those announcements. They're just not there anymore. So at some point you're going to feel let down. Now, did Sony let me down? No, because they really kind of blew me away with God of War, which I got the live stream together, and you heard me in real, like, yeah, I'm all about that game now. So they didn't let me down at all. I mean, I realized that their show didn't lack surprise, but I think it brought sizzle. Like they brought a lot of meat with their conference. They showed you that Spider-Man demo. I'm not even the Spider-Man nerd here. And that Spider-Man demo, like we were live streaming, I was like, he looks like Spider-Man. Like that's exactly what that game's supposed to be. It looks great. So I thought everybody did really well, actually. I thought Bethesda did well. I thought PlayStation did well. Ubi had a solid show. I thought EA had a great conference. I think Nintendo had an amazing conference, and they needed it because their conferences haven't been so good in a while. I thought everybody really brought it. And then obviously Scorpio's got hardware. And we all get excited about hardware. Even if we're not going to buy it, we're all excited about it. We want to know about it. We want to know what it does and, what levels and how it compares to other things. I think everybody feels that way. So I thought overall the conference was fantastic. Kyle?
Yeah, I think overall, upon reflection and time later, I think it was a really solid E3 overall. I think all around, really. I really enjoyed Ubisoft's presentation. I thought that they brought a lot of really quality games and a number that I'm looking forward to. I've never really been a huge EA fan. I don't play a ton of EA stuff, but Battlefront 2 looks great, and I'm definitely going to be playing that this fall. I thought Xbox did a fantastic job of showing off a ton of games and to really talking about their hardware in a way that makes people who are interested in that excited and want to be a part of that. I thought Nintendo's was great. I don't even own a Switch, and I watched Nintendo's and thought that they had done a solid job. And I think that Nintendo fans especially felt like there was some things to be excited about there, which is awesome to see. And, PlayStation's, once I sit back and reflect on it, I'm really happy with what they showed in the sense that I want to play basically every single game that they showed. I'm excited to play all those games. I'm looking forward to playing all of those games. So yeah, maybe there was no, Grand Slam announcement from them this year. Some people say Shadow is. I mean, some of us have played it a couple times already, but I'm interested to see what they do with that. But yeah, I thought it was a really solid E3 overall. I thought that the coverage, especially if you watched, whether it be Xbox or Nintendo's Treehouse Live or PlayStation's Live from E3, like they really filled out their announcements nicely as the time went on. And I think that's one thing that, for better or for worse, the E3 showcases don't seem to be I don't know. I feel like there's more information almost gleaned before and after those showcases now than there is at the showcases themselves these days. That the showcases are like, this looks really cool and check this thing out and it's really awesome. But a lot of the stuff that I got excited about from everyone was the more information I got later. So overall, I thought it was a really solid show. A lot of things I'm looking forward to playing. A lot of things I won't have time to play. But yeah, I feel like most people got excited to continue playing video games, and that's really what it's all about.
Nice. Okay.
Nathan?
Yeah, Nathan.
Oh, yeah, Nathan. Overall thoughts of E3 this year, and I mean, I feel like I've covered half this already because I was doing all these live streams and all these other podcasts and everything. But I thought it was great. I was getting some slack early on in Slack because I was rating EA high and all these other ones high, and my lowest one was Bethesda, and they were all high to me, and I felt honestly that they all deserved high remarks. So I thought it was a great year for all these presenters. I won E3. I'm just gonna say it. Because
Don't say that. Don't say that, Nathan.
because because I was from the very first press conference was EA. It was Battlefront. It was half an hour of Battlefront. I was glued to the screen. I was watching everything that they were saying. I was eating it all up. It was fantastic. I was talking with you guys. We were all getting stoked about it. We've already decided where we're going to play and who's going to be playing Battlefront together. And it's exciting, right? And then we got into the Xbox One X and we got to see the full reveal of what the console can do. Yeah, the price is a little steep, when you compare it to consoles, but not when you compare it to the laptop that Donnie just bought. You know, when you look at all the stuff that was offered via all the console or all the conferences, I'm super stoked about Detroit, about Spider-Man, about Mario, the Mario XCOM game. I can't remember the name of it right now. I want to play that. There was a whole bunch of stuff this year that just looks great. I get the echo chamber effect of people being like, "Oh, this was a bad year. E3 should end." I don't think so, because this was a great year. It wasn't the best for Sony's showcase. Let's just be honest. They've usually had, you know, those mic drop moments, those things that fans latch onto, and they didn't really have that this year. And that's fine. They did a great job with what they did do, and they brought games that are going to be coming out reportedly all within the next was it 16 months?
Yep.
Or 18 months, something like that. So I think that if everything, you look at it from a few weeks away now, week and a half away now, everything was good. It was a great show, and I feel like I wish I was actually there at E3, because the other portion of E3 is the actual conference, going from all the booths to the different developers and the showcases. I wish that we had someone there that could actually walk around and be like, "Hey, I'm from Play Some Video Games. You know, let's network. Let's build up some relationships on the ground, boots on the ground." That's the aspect that I miss out on. I really wish that we could have had something like that in place, but that's the only thing that let me down was that we didn't have somebody there.
Get on it, Donnie.
Yeah, I'll make sure to get that in the budget. Do you guys feel like folks have short memories?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
E3 was pretty terrible, like not even all that long ago. And I mean pretty terrible. I mean by today's standard. Like I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak for you guys. I have loved and watched E3 since like as long as I can really remember really following video games, like back in high school. So we're talking 2004, like back when you had to like search out real-time player and download the videos and stuff like that, like before YouTube was like even real big and popular. I remember like just searching out like, what Nintendo announced the Zelda game, what, and like having to like just go search the web to find it. A lot of those conferences were full of like fluff and sales numbers and music services and YouTube announcements and Netflix, and like, it was a lot of junk. And it's like all of the shows this year, the reason I say everything was great, all of the shows really seemed to tone down the talking and the sales pitch. It was very much like everybody was very much like, here are the games for our platform. Here's what they look like. Thank you for coming. There's none of that ancillary stuff that we've been plagued with in the year. So it definitely felt like more of a fan show in that regard. Plus, I would say the quality level across the board, everything, even if you weren't really into something, I don't think I saw a game where I was like, ugh. All of the games looked really good. Like, well, this is just a great time for gaming. Like the power levels that we have with consoles now, I know they're not PCs, but it's just like such a far advancement still from where we were, you know, just 5 years ago. And it really kind of just made everything look good. I don't think I even like, so for example, like I don't think I'm really into Assassin's Creed. Like it's just kind of more Assassin's Creed. I've played it. I'm not excited to buy that game as well. I'm not going to sit there and say that the game didn't look great. The game looked fantastic. Like the best Assassin's Creed game you've ever seen. Like it looks great on the screen. It's a great sales pitch. I felt that way about every game, no matter how small it was. So like A Way Out, like the indie developer at the EA stage, blew me away, right? It looked fantastic. And then so did Madden, which is like the, you know, EA's biggest franchise. It sells so much stuff every year. Like I was just really impressed across the board.
You said Madden, Coach Mo just fell out of his chair somewhere.
Dude, I'm not, and I don't know if you can get into this stuff. I'm not going to buy Madden this fall. And it's not because I don't want to. It's because there's so many games coming out this fall that it's just going to get pushed.
And you also have EA access.
I do not anymore. I let it lapse.
Right.
The reason I did is not because I didn't think it's good. I think it's a good value proposition. The reason I did is I got the email, you know, it said, hey, your EA access is going to expire in, you know, a month or whatever. And I just kind of sat there and I looked at it and I was like, I have not played a game on EA access in like 7 months. It's like it had been since last year since I'd actually played anything on it. And I was like, there's no reason for me to keep buying. If like I buy my games, right? So like, I'm not going to do that. So I just let it lapse. But I'm going to play Madden, especially if people like this story mode. Like if this game comes out and people are like, story mode's actually kind of fun. It didn't have to be amazing. I'm not going to tell you I need IGN telling me it's the greatest thing ever. If they're like, it's a fun story mode and I enjoyed, these aspects about it, I'm going to buy Madden. I haven't bought Madden in 3 or 4 years now. I don't buy it every year. I usually buy it when something happens that, makes me take notice. And this made me take notice. I was like, I'm going to have to get this Madden game eventually.
I do want to say, how everybody is really liking these showcases. Basically, that's what Bethesda did. That's what Nintendo did. That's what Sony did. Personally, I like the way that Xbox did it, and that's not just me from the Xbox. No, that's not just me from the Xbox, fan guy.
Hold on.
Let me finish my statement, sir.
No, hold on. This ties right into the next question. So I say, let's just go to the next question then, because Jake asked, how much longer do we think E3 will be around anymore? Is there a need anymore? Many of the conferences are now just a trailer, a reel of trailers, which is exactly what you just said. So that's what I'm saying. So let's address that now then. Go ahead and continue.
Okay. So Microsoft was not just a reel of trailers. Yes, they had reels of trailers during their show, but Phil Spencer came out there and other developers came out there. They talked. Didn't they show? Oh no, that was EA.
They showed a Porsche. They showed a
Porsche. Yes. But EA also had the developer come out for A Way Out. Very passionate, speaking, developer, and it made me really want to play his game. I can't remember his name, but he did a great job on stage. But I like those moments because anybody can put together this direct. Let's just call it that. Everybody's doing direct. Everybody's going Nintendo's way. Anybody can do that, but to actually have the stage presence and someone come out on stage and be able to talk to the people, be able to say, this is what we're doing. This is our vision. This is how we want to continue on. I think that's still an important aspect of E3, and it should be. So from my perspective, as someone who's watched all these conferences, when Phil Spencer walked out there, he opens up the show, he talks about it. Then another game lead designer comes out and he talks a little bit about his game. And then later on, Phil Spencer comes back out. He talks about backwards compatibility for original Xbox games. These are the type of things where it lends weight to the conference, to the event. You have the leader of the Xbox out there talking about this stuff, right? Not Jack Trenton. What was it?
Sean Layden.
Sean Layden. He was out there, but what did he do? He just came out there and said, hey, we're PlayStation. Here's this. And then, hey, we're PlayStation. Thanks for coming. And
that's all I need. That's all I need from my executives.
But no, Phil was out there talking to his people. Sure. And he was talking to me. And I felt that. I didn't get that from anybody else except for Ubisoft. They did it.
They did it terribly, but yeah.
No, but they did it. They brought out the developers. They brought out
YouTube.
Oh, wait, no, I was thinking EA. Yeah, EA.
No, EA had the YouTube.
That was
fiasco. Ubisoft had. It opened out. Miyamoto was on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the type of things that you need from EA. To have the pan to the developer who created that Rabbids game with Miyamoto on stage talking about his game. I mean, you just can't get that from a reel.
Well,
you need that.
Devil's advocate, though. So what Nintendo did, so Nintendo had the Direct. You said everyone's copying Nintendo. So Nintendo does the Direct, but then Nintendo did the Treehouse where that actual developer was then able to demo his game and actually answer questions. Would you have a problem with something like that? Because that was more in depth where you got like a hands-on look for half-hour to 40-minute chunks with those people demoing the game and answering questions live versus something being crammed in a bigger picture of an hour-long presentation.
Treehouse has its place, just like the Xbox Dailies does, and whatever PlayStation did. Mm-hmm. They have their place to go more in depth on these games, but if you're looking to talk to the masses are going to give you an hour, hour and a half at most. That's where you talk to them, and that's where
I don't think the masses are giving you an hour, dude. I disagree with that statement altogether. I think YouTube, social media people are not giving an hour. The casual gamer is not watching any press conference that's an hour long, in my opinion.
Okay. Anyway, people like us will give them an hour.
People like us. Now that's different. We are different.
So we'll give them an hour to talk about this stuff, but we don't necessarily even have the time because we're not in the industry. We're not out there checking everything out. We're working throughout the day. And
Wait,
we
you
can't
work?
watch. What's that?
You work?
Yeah. You can't watch all the stuff that's going on in Treehouse or the daily shows they do for like 5 hours and they go through in-depth Crackdown, Sea of Thieves, all this. They give hours of time to each developer. But I think that's important to have on the main stage, right? You have that keynote. When a developer comes on stage, it's important, it's big, it means something. To have Anthem on the stage means something. To have Spider-Man on the stage means something. So that's why if you have it on the grand scale and the big scene, you need that. But I also feel like in that same time, in that same allotment, you need to budget your time wisely and have your leader come out and talk to the people. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I think that's fair. So before we let Donnie crap on all over your thoughts, Kyle, what do you think?
I would say that I actually agree with pretty much everything Nathan said. And I think from my perspective, and again, I don't know, who I could be completely wrong, what you saw Microsoft do is basically what Sony does at PSX. That's when Sean Layden comes out. That's when Gio Corsi comes out in his hockey jersey. That's when Shu comes out and talks to the people. Like that for them is when that happens, because that's when they're talking to their hardcore fan base. That's when they're talking to the people who know about like when Gio Corsi walks out and holds his Vita up and talks about games coming to Vita still. Like that's where that happens for them. So I do think that there's a value to that and that there is a place for that to speak to your hardcore fan base. I just don't know if for everyone it's at E3 anymore. And I think that's the biggest thing that might be changing. I think E3 will be around for a while still, and I think it's going to exist, but I think how people treat it is going to start to change. You already look at EA is basically completely gone. I think for PlayStation, it is meaning less for them now than it did 2 years ago, and that PSX is a bigger deal. And Nintendo, they're going to do their thing where they always, just do their regular directs, and then they're going to do the Treehouse to get more information. But I think how each company treats E3, I think, is what's going to change moving forward. And I don't know if all of them are going to put the same weight and value on it that they have in the past, for better or for worse. I think that some companies are looking at different ways and finding different, more effective ways for them to really show their product. And I think, obviously, since I play PlayStation mostly, like the fact that they announced PSX dates at E3 tells you something, that they said, hey, welcome to E3. Here's when PSX is. That was like the first thing they did.
Yeah.
The first thing they did was tell you when PSX was. So I think that in and of itself shows something. But I agree with 100% with what Nathan said, that I do think it's important for Phil or Shu or whoever to get up there, talk to the people. Ubisoft's conference was actually probably my favorite conference of all of them, because they had the developers up there talking, giving you 2 minutes about their game and then some gameplay. It doesn't need to be this 30-minute spiel. Just a couple minutes about, hey, here's what we're thinking. Here's what we're trying to do with this game. We hope you enjoy this trailer. See more. If you're interested, we'll have a 30-minute gameplay thing in an hour that you can watch if you want to. So I agree with Nathan, but I think that how the companies treat E3, I think, is what's going to change. But I think E3 is still going to be around.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you said and what Nathan said for the most part. I do like having the presence of the big wigs there on stage and being able to talk about their thing, but I do also like the Treehouse and the Xbox Dailies, whatever they're called, as well, to give you the more in-depth thing. I typically never really watched the Treehouse, but this past year I did, because I wanted to see more, because their direct was so brief. I wanted to see more stuff there in that aspect. I think what Kyle said is spot on, that I think we're starting to see the companies wanting to have their own day instead of sharing the E3 event, the main stage with all these other companies. They want that spotlight, and that's what PSX is for PlayStation. I mean, they've already said there's games that's going to be shown at PSX that were not announced at E3. So there's more coming. So those people that are saying, well, this is the same stuff we saw last year. Well, okay, they have already said there's more coming. Nintendo has been teasing stuff. I mean, Reggie has been everywhere, repeatedly teasing it. Hey, there's more Switch stuff coming that we haven't talked about yet. Stay tuned. There's more stuff coming. So I think, eventually, probably not within the next 5 years, I say, but eventually we're going to see Microsoft do their own event. Sony obviously will continue theirs and take it more and more serious. Nintendo will still do a direct whenever the heck they feel like doing it and decide to just steal the spotlight, of the internet for an hour and just kind of drop, bombs everywhere. But yeah, I think it's kind of, I don't want to say passe, but yeah, I think it's kind of evolved and it needs to change overall because none of these companies want to share the stage. They all want their own limelight. And I think that's what it's kind of going to. Maybe eventually we'll see E3 just be third parties and the big three are completely absent. I could see that happening a little bit more feasible than everybody dissolving it. But so while Donnie's been stewing, we'll let him go off now. Go ahead, sir.
I'm not stewing. Everybody brought up good points. I mean, I disagree with Nathan holistically. I don't need to see an executive on stage. I don't need a mascot. I mean, this is a company that's selling products to me. And my problem is mascots, they change. It's Jack Tretton. It was Kevin Butler who was hired. And I mean, Aisha Taylor and Tyler. And I mean, we had, Miyamoto and then Iwata. I mean, and I can't even name the folks that got on stage from EA. You couldn't even name the guy that came on for A Way Out. And I agree with you. His presentation was good. It's passionate. You want to get behind that. I don't think having that in a video takes it away. I think a lot of times it's a fine line. For every example that it works well, like The Way Out, there's probably 10 examples where it doesn't go so well in the presentation and kind of like maybe bums you out. Whereas when you do something that's more prepared, like a video, I think overall you get a better product, even if you don't get the gigantic crowd cheering applause at the end that everybody gets excited for. I think, if you did 10 out of 10 segments on stage versus 10 out of 10 prepared videos, I think the videos probably have a higher success rate, overall. But I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I don't think it's an either or thing. Definitely. I mean, Kevin, you kind of alluded to it. You can do both. I don't think you have to go on stage and talk about games for 90 minutes. I think at that point you're just, I mean, most people aren't sticking around for 90 minutes. The folks that are like the most dedicated of fans. That's a long time to ask people's attention. It's a long time to captivate their attention. That's where you get into the whole judgment of the actual presentation versus the content that I kind of alluded to on Nintendo. It's one of the most fascinating conversations that I hear after E3 is, their show was good, but it dipped here and here and here, and they lost momentum at this point. And this guy came on and he had a suit, and this guy came on and he had a t-shirt. What t-shirt did he had a Crash t-shirt on? Crash is coming. It's just like ridiculous. It's like they forget, like the whole message gets lost, right? Like the message is that God of War is coming. Like that's the message. All that other stuff doesn't matter. That's the stuff that I think the video kind of, I mean, to steal a Nintendo thing, it gets directly to the point, right? It's like, here's what you
a lot of hand gesture just
there you go. I mean, it's just like, here's what you need to know. Now, I'm not saying that everybody needs to go direct. I think if PlayStation came out next year, E3, and they said, we're going to do a video and it's going to be 24 minutes long, people would like riot. They'd be so upset. But I don't think you have to have the on-stage keynote. It's not Microsoft. Like, you're not going up there with the Apple Watch. Like, I don't think gaming has to live in that shadow anymore. Like, gaming is its own thing. They don't have to abide by that standard. They can have video presentations. I think the live streaming and the Let's Plays do more for me as a consumer in terms of learning about the game, to see the game in motion, see somebody playing it, see somebody give me their feedback from playing it. I can then see feedback as some sort of prepared CGI trailer. Like, I get these CGI trailers for 90 minutes. I'm like, well, did I take anything from any of that? So yeah, to answer Jake's question though, I think E3 will always be around. I agree with all of you that I think it has to change. I don't think it can go third party. I think it was an interesting comment though, because that's kind of what I was thinking. It's kind of more important than third parties than it is for hardware developers.
Yep.
But you need the hardware developers there to attract the attention for the third parties. So it goes hand in hand. So what I think you're going to get is you're going to get what you got this year. You're going to get more of it. You're going to get hardware developers coming and supporting third parties, and then holding their announcements for other things. Nathan, I'm not going to be surprised at all if Xbox has some sort of Xbox experience coming soon. I just think it makes sense. It makes sense for these folks, especially first-party published titles. It makes sense to put your investments on their own stage. Like PSX just makes sense. Nintendo, they've been out in front of this for a while. Yeah, I remember when they first started doing directs, everybody lost their minds. Like everybody, like when I mean everybody, I mean games bloggers, games websites, like critics, they trashed them. Like they're getting out of E3 and they don't want to compete and they can't do it. And they're going mobile. I mean, there was all that stuff got brought up, and now you're seeing more and more people come to it. I just think it makes more sense. When Nintendo drops that we're gonna have a direct tomorrow at 9 a.m, like on Friday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it garners a buzz that, you know, only that type of announcement can have, as opposed to come watch our conference a year from now in June. You know, like people put that on the calendars, but it doesn't have like that. It's kind of lost that buzz. Whereas like I think PSX has that, because you know when you get to PSX, you're going to see something. You know, that's the place that you go to watch the thing that you wouldn't expect. You know, like Metroid only happens in the direct. Like it's that type of stuff, right? So ultimately, I do agree mostly with what all of you have said. Ultimately, as I talk around my own thoughts, I'm trying to make it sound right in my own thought process here. Nobody's really giving me any retort or feedback. So
no, I think we're kind of all in the same lane. We're heading the same way. We're all just taking a different approach up. I think we all pretty much have the same feelings on it. So, all right, that wraps up the messages for this week. So thank you all for sending those in. Make sure you continue to tweet at us at PSVG, or you can always email your questions to podcast@playsomevideogames.com. So now to the main subject for this evening is we got together as a website and got the whole staff around the big conference table in the boardroom, had some stale donuts and some Keurig coffee, and we made our votes for our favorite stuff from E3 and kind of broke them down into different categories. Now, I believe if I did this the right way, I'm the only one who can see the results as of right now. So this is going to be a surprise to everybody here on the podcast with me this evening and those of you listening at home. So I'm basically going to go through each category and then stop and pose a question to a specific staff member on the podcast and kind of get their thoughts on the results there. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So the first thing we voted on was our favorite game from the EA press conference that took place on Saturday, kind of kicked off the whole E3 festivities, if you will. And drum roll, insert drum roll here. With 46% of the vote was Star Wars Battlefront 2, much to Nathan's delight. So Nathan, what do you think about Star Wars taking it? What did you like? What got you excited for that? What made you, I'm assuming, vote for this one as your favorite game of EA? First, you have to unmute your mic, Nathan. Nathan, unmute, Nathan. There you go.
All right. So first, it's obviously Star Wars. So who can go wrong? It's going to be fantastic. I am in the minority, and I love the 2015 release of Star Wars Battlefront. I thought it was fantastic. It really engrossed you in the Star Wars world. The sound effects, the visuals, everything, it captured the feeling of Star Wars. Battlefront 2 obviously is going to be building on top of that with a single-player campaign, and it's also going to have saga characters. So not just original trilogy. So you're going to have Darth Maul, you're going to have Yoda, you're going to have Rey, Kylo Ren, along with Vader, Boba Fett, all those other characters running around on the battlefield. They showcased a Battle of Theed, which looked amazing.
Oh, it did.
The Theed has never, not even in the movies, looked better.
It's true.
It looked fantastic. Running around Theed, being able to watch the battle unfold there, seeing Darth Maul pop out there, seeing the spaceships fly around in the combat. It looked fantastic. I cannot be more excited for Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's the only game this year that I will buy on day one that I know of for sure.
Or will you unwrap it though? That's the key.
Well, it's going to be digital, so I can play it right away. So yes, it will be.
We're playing that night.
Yes, I'm playing it as soon as I get on EA Access, and then I'll be getting the deluxe edition, which lets me play it like 5 days earlier on top of that, and then I'll be lost to the galaxy far, far away.
There you go. So with that, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is our favorite game from EA at E3. Runner-up, just to note, with 27% of the votes was Anthem. So
really,
okay. Nope. Our next topic is our favorite game from
Kevin, you disagree?
It's like Kyle's shaking his head.
Kyle disagrees.
I would go a way out because
Thank you.
Anthem didn't show us anything.
Okay,
Like they jumped off a cliff, they ran into a jungle, and they shot a dinosaur, and they're like, "Next year, thanks for coming."
That was at Microsoft's conference. That wasn't even at EA.
That's true. If you want to be
save the Anthem talk. I will say A Way Out though did take third place with 18%, but Battlefront had almost half the vote, so that just ran away with it. All right, so favorite game from Ubisoft with 36% of the vote, so not quite as high as Star Wars. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, aka XCOM Mario, as Nathan said it.
So Nathan's biting his tongue or Kyle's biting, he's just like, oh.
So, no, I knew. No, this game looked great. I know this question's not coming to me though, so that's fine.
Nope, it's not. It's gonna go to Donnie. But before I jump into it, though, I will say we were very divided as a staff on Ubisoft. So this one had the lead at 36%. There were a couple titles at 18%, and then a couple titles at 9%. So we were kind of all over the place with Ubisoft. So we were very divided there. But this one took the cake. So Donnie, what did you like from seeing Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle?
Man, again, you're feeling like we're saying all the same things over and over again. I mean, it's Mario with space guns and Rabbids, and it's got cute animations and characters, and it had E3's most touching moment on stage in real time. And to that point, I'll agree with you, Nathan. That moment doesn't get captured in a video.
That's true.
Like, you don't get that moment captured in video. You might get that moment in a treehouse or something like that. You know, like, that doesn't mean to say that all videos are bad, but that moment is only capable of happening live. And no, I'm just totally down for this. It's bringing an advanced style of game that should hopefully open up younger people, or at least this is my hope for this game, is it opens up my kids to playing more complex styles. Because like right now, if I show my kid like a first-person shooter, they're just not interested. It's not even that they're not interested. They're like intimidated. They're like, no, I can't do that. You know, it's like I get this often. My son will come to me and go, "What's that Halo that I like to play? Not the one that you like to play, the one that I like to play." And I'm like, "Oh, you like the twin stick shooter Halo at the top?"
You're like, "It's called Splatoon. Sit down."
Yeah, exactly. It's Splatoon. For like, you know, for RTS or strategy or tactics or just anything that wants to get into that realm. You know, you could take a kid that plays this Mario game and maybe they take a crack at a Fire Emblem or an XCOM or something like that. You know, maybe all of a sudden they're not so scared of a turn-based style of game. And I think that has like the biggest impact on that game. Not to mention the fact that it totally is a Mario game, which has all the Mario characters, looks just like a Mario game you would expect it to look, and it looks fantastic. It's got all the charm and everything. Like, yeah, I'm really excited, and it's coming out super fast. The game's coming out in like 7 weeks. So I always get excited anytime I hope E3 does become and here's what we get you to play in 6 months, because I get so much more excited at E3 when they go, and this game comes out in August, in September, in November. Like that's what does it for me. So I'm super excited about this one.
Yeah, agreed. So our runners up here was Assassin's Creed Origins and Far Cry 5.
No South Park.
Nope. South Park was not on there. So yeah, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle takes the cake for our favorite game from Ubisoft at E3. Up next, our favorite game from Bethesda's press conference. This one was the biggest gap in voting ever, with 82% of the vote.
The evil within.
Kyle, take a guess. Which one do you think it is?
I feel like this is going to be Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus.
You are correct, sir. So how does that make you feel?
That makes me feel very happy. The Wolfenstein reboot that Machine Games did was incredible. Love that game. And this, for me, you know, when I look at the date, that October date is an interesting date for game releases, because that comes out, Assassin's Creed comes out, and Mario comes out. Obviously, I think those are three games that are probably geared at three different people, and I think the easy answer is to say that Wolfenstein is going to struggle, but that's the game I'm most excited about that day. I'm really looking forward to what they do. Hearing from people who had hands-on, it sounds like they're doing some really interesting stuff with this game. So, you know, my only fear is this game might be a victim of its own hype, because I enjoyed the first one so much. But I'm really looking forward to seeing the continuing story of BJ Blazkowicz and what we're going to be doing now that the Nazis have overtaken the United States and are hanging out with the KKK in Times Square. But to be interested to see like where this game goes and how it handles all of that. So I'm highly looking forward to this one. One of my most anticipated games of the fall for sure.
Yeah, totally. This one got me excited too. So obviously it's Bethesda, so I was excited for most of the stuff that they showed. But yeah, this one, the trailer was great. It had more story, more humor to it, new cast of characters, as well as the old cast from the old game too. But yeah, so I'm excited for that. Our runner-up in this one was, in fact, as Donnie praised, was The Evil Within 2 was our runner-up for favorite game.
Why is it so funny, Kyle?
No, it's
He's
not.
just
It's
laughing.
not.
He's like, ha, ha, ha.
No, I think that game is great too. I just because I think of like all of you. I'm like, I don't know why nobody voted for Doom VFR. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
understand.
no, that's true.
So
That's funny.
Yeah, the VR stuff makes it a little bit harder to get too excited
Kevin-
because it's a smaller thing. But
You and I are the only people that played The Evil Within on staff, right?
I
Anybody else play it?
think so.
I
Evil
have it
Within
until
2.
last-
Nice. You should play it this Halloween.
I will probably try to do that.
The Evil Within 2, Kevin, agree with me, hopefully, looks
Maybe.
like just an incredible leap from the first
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Does it not? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I'm excited about it, because the first one I enjoyed, as you did. We both had issues with it, right? It's
Mhm.
very like old school, which is
Yeah.
still good. But the second one is just like, you remember that game you liked? Now it's awesome.
Yeah,
And
they
I was like
definitely-
totally down for that. Yeah.
Totally. I addressed this in the podcast last week. I guess it was last week. The third party one. I can't remember. It's all blur now.
It
But
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
it seems like it's much faster. Like that was one of my biggest gripes with the last one. It's just so
Yeah.
slow moving. This one seems to be ramped up. It actually seems more scary, whereas the first one got you more tense. You were more, I don't know how to phrase it, but it was more tense and not less scary in the first one. So this one seems to be an interesting take, and looks like they took the good premise that Evil Within had and just kind of made it now hopefully a good game, a better game. But yeah, so Wolfenstein New Colossus, our favorite game from Bethesda. So now our favorite game from Microsoft. Get ready to unmute your mic, Nathan. Are you already unmuted? So you're good. This one I have a specific question for Nathan for. So this game won with 55% of the vote,
Nathan
And
rigged it.
and it was Anthem. So before you talk about your thoughts on Anthem, Nathan, I want to ask one question.
Are you going to ask what I voted for?
Well, you can reveal that as well. But my question is, how do you feel that our favorite game from the entire staff on Microsoft is not an actual Microsoft exclusive game?
So to answer that question, most of the people on the staff are anti-Microsoft. Just kidding. Most people on the staff are wanting to play Anthem, obviously, and they may not have an Xbox or care about any of their Xbox titles. So that one, if they were to choose, would be their de facto choice.
Is it possible that they chose that one because they want a Destiny that gives them everything, and Anthem's early promise is it could be that?
Well, I mean, possibly, but also, I mean, you look at the game and it looks fantastic. It
No, that's
looks
true.
like a great game.
I
So-
voted for Ori.
I voted for Ori as well.
Yes.
Wow. So okay. I'll say Ori and the Blind or Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Again, I stand by my statement. If Ori was a PlayStation exclusive, PlayStation gamers like Kyle would be screaming from the mountaintops about that game.
Ori's a great game.
Ori and Sea of Thieves were tied for
Sea
runner-up
of
to
Thieves
Anthem.
was my vote.
Okay.
So we know what we voted for, Kyle or Kevin. What did you vote for?
I voted for Anthem.
And why? So you tell me, was I right with my reasoning?
All right. No. Well, yes and no. Okay. So let's go through some of the other ones. Assassin's Creed Origins, it's fine, but in the Microsoft showcase, that was behind the eight ball. Crackdown for me, seeing more E3 actually hurt my impressions of Crackdown. I liked the old Crackdown better, and I got less excited seeing this one. Forza does nothing for me because I'm not a big racing simulator type person. I like the more arcadey style. And I mean, the only other things that were really there, Sea of Thieves doesn't do anything for me. State of Decay didn't do anything for me. Ori, I didn't play the first one, so I don't have that affinity for.
You should play
playing
on that
Forza everyone
PC
does.
of yours.
I definitely could. But yeah, I mean, I just didn't see anything that got me that ramped up. Metro Exodus was probably the second most excited for, but once again, not an exclusive again for Xbox. I just didn't see anything exclusive shown that made me say, yes, this is the best thing that Microsoft showcased. And maybe that was deliberate. Maybe Microsoft's saying, I want to spread the love to the third parties. But for me, I just found it a unique thing that a majority of our staff, over half our staff, voted for something that's not exclusive for Microsoft to be the best Microsoft game, or our favorite Microsoft game, rather. And Nathan's speechless. Okay, there we go.
No, I'm not speechless. It stands to reason. Kyle, Donnie, and myself all voted for exclusives, but those spoke to us in different reasons. And you, who don't have an Xbox, voted for Anthem. And there's more people on staff that don't have an Xbox than do.
Actually, that's not true anymore.
No?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do they? Like,
no.
There's a lot of folks that have Xboxes.
You have Josh, you have Mo, you have Donnie, you have yourself, you have Jason.
Jason doesn't count.
Hey.
Jason totally counts.
He's invested now. He's invested.
He's got Live for a year. He's got EA Access for like 14 months. Like, we all hooked him up. Like, in like the span of 5 days, he was covered with games for like the next 2 years.
It's also that BioWare allure, right?
Yes, totally.
If we're looking for overall game of the show, I think I probably chose Anthem.
Anthem's definitely qualifies.
Yeah, because it is a fantastic looking game. I want to fly around like Iron Man.
Yeah.
But for me, at the Microsoft Showcase, I was more intrigued by what Sea of Thieves continues to show me. And I get that Sea of Thieves is not the mass appeal like Anthem would be. Anthem will appeal to more people than Sea of Thieves. Anthem appeals to more people than Ori. Let's just be honest, right?
Yeah. Totally.
So that makes sense why that would be the case. And it makes sense why Microsoft is making this play to have this partnership with Anthem. So I hope it works out.
Yeah, totally. I like the art style, and I like what Sea of Thieves has to offer. I think the reason I didn't get as excited for it as I could have, or maybe should have, was I've just seen a lot of Sea of Thieves because they've been very transparent with it for most of the development. Like, it's been out there. You've seen stuff. So it wasn't like that Anthem, what is this? Crackdown, we've heard about, we haven't seen anything. So I think pulling the curtain back, we weren't really shocked or excited for what Sea of Thieves was. It was just more of like, oh, hey, cool, Sea of Thieves is showing more stuff. And I think that may have waned favor there for a little bit in those regards. But you said you had voted for it, and I'm pretty sure probably Coach Mo voted for Sea of Thieves as well, because he's shown a lot of love for that game too. So.
I will say on the plus side though, for Sea of Thieves, it looks better and better every time they show it.
It totally does, 100%. And if I had to pick a pirate game, I would pick this over Skull and Bones. So I will give it that much. But yeah, so our favorite game from Microsoft's press conference was Anthem, with over half the votes. Runners up, as I said, was Ori and Will of the Wisps and Sea of Thieves. So our next one, this one was also pretty divided, much like the Ubisoft one, was our favorite game from Sony's press conference, but there was a clear winner with 36% of the vote was...
That's a clear winner?
Well, compared
less
to
than
the others,
half?
there was no tie.
That's not a clear winner. That means that most people all voted for separate winners.
I'm saying there's no tie.
Oh, okay.
We've had ties for lots of other things.
The clear winner, less than half the majority.
Well, it's clear that it's still won.
Okay.
Where's the popular vote? I want to know what the popular vote is here.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
I voted for that.
That's the comic book fandom and you guys voting.
Fun.
It looks fun. Had a great trailer. It was.
That's true. I give you that. It had a great trailer. It was a short trailer. But a great trailer. There's a lot
trailer.
Here's the thing.
It was like 5 or 6 minutes long at the end.
Am I the only person? I remember, Nathan, did you say this? Somebody in our reacts were going, there's some QTE stuff in there, but that's okay. Just completely glanced over that, like 25% of that entire trailer was QuickTime events. Like, there wasn't some. There was a lot of QuickTime events in that trailer. It was like some stalking, some moving, and then QuickTime button, QuickTime button, QuickTime button. During every cinematic, there was QuickTime events.
You did play Uncharted 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just want to say, because that was the same thing.
Hey,
every cinematic had the same things.
Okay. Yeah,
and people raved about those. So I don't think that hurts a game.
I didn't review it all that great either, and I got a lot of crap on Twitter for doing the same thing. So if anything, I am consistent.
And then second place for the Sony with 27% of the vote was God of War.
There you go.
So Kyle, as our resident Sony expert, what are your thoughts on Spider-Man taking the cake there?
Yeah, not what I voted for. but I feel like that's pretty much par for the course for me, and that's why we have a big staff. I think, as was expected, there was a lot of quick time events in the trailer. Insomniac addressed that on multiple live streams during the week, being like, look, this is one small section of gameplay in one small area that particular part had a couple more quick time events than you may have wanted to see, but that's not representative of the entire game. So apparently, according to Insomniac, the whole game is not like that. That was just that part that they happened to show, and that all the swinging and all the stuff like that in the city is all skill based. It's not quick time or anything like that. Right. But I think, honestly, part of the reason that it's split is that PlayStation is, I think, pushing and trying to get their games to appeal to as many different people as they can. I think there is some. I think a lot of people originally thought Days Gone basically looked like an open world The Last of Us. Now, after seeing some more live streams of it and stuff, it's more like a different take on Horizon than I think it is. I think it holds more similarities there than it does to The Last of Us. But yeah, God of War is what I voted for. I'm super stoked about that game as well. But I think it just goes to show that, hopefully Sony is doing a good job in providing some exclusives for everyone that enjoys their platform, and that there's something that appeals to everyone. So, we don't have Ori, which is a bummer, but pretty much everything else though that they showed, I'm excited about, and I plan on playing pretty much everything. So
absolutely, in that Hot Shots Golf.
That's right. This August 29th.
So, all right. So, moving along, our favorite game from Nintendo's press conference. I don't think we need a drum roll here. I think we know. So, yeah, I was wrong about Bethesda's being the landslide one. This one actually was the landslide one with 90% of the votes. So, one person on staff is clearly smoking crack and voted for something else. And it was Super Mario Odyssey was our favorite game from Nintendo's press conference.
What was the other vote? Was it Rocket League?
Yes. No. Probably. Yeah, you're right. So,
that's easy to sniff out.
That's true. I didn't even think of that. So, yeah, Super Mario Odyssey takes the cake. Donnie, how do you feel? I know we talked a little bit about it in the Nintendo show, but Super Mario Odyssey, what do you like?
Everything. I mean, what's not to like? We all love Mario. I don't care if you've left Nintendo and you don't do Nintendo anymore, and you're an adult, and you're mature now, and just you got these angsty, mature feelings that you got to express in video games. That's fine. You still love Mario. Everybody loves Mario. He's video gamers' mascot. He's the mascot of video gaming, period. And this Mario looks like the best one, the next best one. I don't know how you want to preface it. Like the next one that you have to play. The next killer app Mario. Mario 3D Land wasn't, or 3D World or whatnot. Yeah. Like that was more of the Mario that, people like. It's still good Mario, but we're talking benchmark Mario. Mario Bros, Super Mario World, Super Mario 3, Super Mario 64, Galaxy, and possibly Odyssey. Based on what we've seen, it looks like Odyssey's right there. And I don't count Sunshine. I love Sunshine. It's one of my favorites, but most people don't. But this one looks fantastic. It really, really does. And from all of the hands-on impressions, as I kind of alluded to in our podcast, and as I continue to hear from everybody that put hands-on with the game, if you only listen to our podcast for gaming, I'm going to tell you to go listen to someone else's. Go find another one.
No.
Yes, no, I'm going to, because they should. Like, go find somebody, go YouTube and go hands-on impression Mario Odyssey, because there's nothing that I can say as somebody that hasn't put my hands on the game that can sell you on it better than that. Because everybody
all right, so go listen to Married to the Games and hear their thoughts on Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh, God, don't do that. Don't do that. We're not going to do that here. Don't do that. Definitely do not do that. That is not what you should do.
They cover Nintendo, right?
Oh. Definitely don't do that. But definitely go to YouTube and just find some hands-on impressions, because anybody that put their hands on the game, whether they're an Xbox player, a PlayStation player, it really doesn't matter. Anybody that played Mario Odyssey, they all have glowing reviews. And trust me, I've watched tons of videos and listened to tons of podcasts, all of it. And all of the feedback from people that went hands-on is that it's fantastic. And it definitely looks that way. I think it's a Game of Show contender at the very least. It would be my vote for Game of Show because it's coming out soon. But definitely, that's it. It just looks fantastic. From the open world to the level design to the power-ups and the different abilities. It's Mario, but it's brand new. And for a game that's been around since the 80s, that's hard to do. And it's impressive when people get excited about a game that's been around that long. One of the things I wanted to say in the PlayStation recap with Kyle is you got to think the popularity of Spider-Man trumps the popularity of Kratos.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Plus, not to mention that Spider-Man fans have always wanted a good Spider-Man game. And the promise of that gets them really excited. Whereas we've had good God of War games.
That's true.
So, like, it's just another sequel. Like, I'm excited for it as a God of War fan. I am really excited to play God of War. I'm buying that game. But I've got to, if I'm looking at, like, just our internal stuff, I got to say that has a lot to do with it. In fact, Spider-Man fans have been like, every Spider-Man game we've ever played has been awful. And I'm excited for a good one. And this looks like a good one. I said every Spider-Man, and I know that you played Spider-Man 2 back on whatever, and I played it on GameCube, and you thought it was cool to swing from building to building. That still doesn't make that game great. That game was good at best. I played that game. It was not a great game.
You are smoking some reefer, sir.
Oh,
okay. I feel like this is my role here. I just come and I find a game that everybody loves, and then I just destroy it. Uncharted, Super Metroid, Superman 2.
Well, you're doing a bad job destroying these games, first off. But I just would like to say that Spider-Man 2 was a great game. Still holds up today if you go back and play it.
I have it. I own the game.
Fun. It was fun. But yeah, I'm more excited for this than I was for Spider-Man 2, though. But
yeah, I think most people were. That's the point I'm trying to make. I think people look at this game, and this game is everything that they really wanted Spider-Man 2 to be, right? I mean, like in your imagination, when you think back to what it was when you played Spider-Man 2, I played it on GameCube, Nathan, but I mean...
So wait, hold on. When you played Spider-Man 2 on GameCube, how old were you? And what did you want it to be? How was it not that?
I was half my age, so I don't know.
And what did you want it to 14? Be? How did not...
He was 8.
I mean, you swing from building to building, you go to the side mission, and you fight the boss. I mean, it was fine. I mean, but it's not like
that's all you wanted at the time. You didn't want anything
complex, right? It's not this complex. He didn't move like he did.
Complex.
Well, I mean, but it's not this complex, right? You don't have open options to take on the enemies. You don't have this type of acrobatic ability. You definitely don't have like this type of fan service in terms of his remarks and his comebacks. Right? You did.
Oh, you did. Who was snappy in the Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, there was some good. But you didn't have Miles Morales, Nathan.
Miles Morales did not exist at that point, sir.
I know.
All I'm saying is I think that has a lot to do with it. I think it does. The fact that God of War is a sequel, Spider-Man is not really a sequel because there hasn't been a good one in a long time since Spider-Man 2. Let's put it that way.
That's not, and this isn't a sequel to that anyway. So
right. Well, it's just you know what I mean.
Yeah,
in the series, the lineage, whatever.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. So let's move along then. So let's see. Our favorite third-party conference overall. So between Ubisoft, EA, and Bethesda, our vote, which I don't think will really surprise anyone here, Ubisoft took it with 55% of the votes.
Wow.
So Kyle, what do you think of that? How do you think that fared? Like, did in your mind, did they have a better showing than the other two?
To me, they did. I enjoyed their conference the most. I think I enjoyed the pacing the most. I think that Battlefront, being the last half hour of EA's helped it in some ways, but also hurt it in some ways.
Yeah, sure.
Just because some of the gameplay and what you saw people playing was not very polished. Not the game itself was polished, but the people's skills playing the game was not super polished.
Right.
So I think that Ubi really did kind of have something for everyone, and they had some pretty good pacing. They had developers up there for a couple of minutes, and I think, they also had that mic drop moment of, who knows when Beyond Good and Evil 2 is coming or ever coming or what it's going to be. But, they still chock their conference pretty much full of things coming out within the next 12 to 18 months. And then, hey, here's this other thing that you've all been asking for that we revealed 10 years ago and we're revealing again. But people got really excited for that. So overall, yeah, I think they had a solid show for sure.
You had a good point. I think you touched on EA. It was spot on that the Battlefront at the end was the big thing, and you're right. I remember watching that, and they got so excited when Rey was able to appear, and then like 10 seconds later, she was taken down by like one of the weakest, combatants in the field. So that kind of like took some steam out of their engines. I mean, Bethesda is very focused on the gritty and dark type games, and Ubisoft, you're right, they had something for everybody between the Rabbids, and then you still had the serious stuff with your Assassin's Creed and your Far Cry 5. So yeah, I think that's pretty fair. The pacing, although I do miss Aisha, still should have been there, but it is what it is. So then our last quote unquote award for our favorite, the big three. So between Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo, with 46% of the vote.
Rigged.
He hasn't even said what it is yet.
Was Xbox.
Rigged.
It was Xbox, Nathan.
I know. Same. It was rigged.
It wasn't
Just
Xbox anyway. It was Nintendo. So regardless, Sony and Microsoft actually split the remaining votes and tied for second with 27% each. So Nintendo took it. I think I'll comment on this one. Yeah, right. It's not
recount.
People are going to vote for their favorite.
Okay, I can still recount it. Yeah, it's although I will say it seems like somebody on quote unquote Team Xbox did not vote for Xbox for best of show, if you will, and they actually voted for Nintendo instead. So I don't know who swayed it, but we had more head count for Nintendo. Obviously, I'm going to assume Donnie, you voted Nintendo at the best show.
I did, and I wouldn't do that just out of fandom.
Right.
Like, I mean, I wouldn't have done that in recent years. In recent memory, I wouldn't have done that in the last 5 years.
Right. It's same thing for me. I voted for Nintendo, and it's simply because they had more things that they showed that I got excited for than the other two conferences did, and that's including Sony, and I am a Sony gamer as well. I just think that they caught you with some surprises, and what they showed was really, really solid, and they just really backing up the product they have there. But yeah, majority of the staff voted for Nintendo overall, so that was our favorite. But yeah, as you can say, that you can take it for what it is. Obviously, there's some bias there, as there was with everyone who voted for Xbox and voted for Sony. But some staff members did sway their votes off of those other two and applied them to Nintendo. So it wasn't just Donnie, myself, and Jason voting for Nintendo. I can tell you that much. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. So I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to comment on the favorite stuff from E3 at all, but those are what we officially voted on.
I'm surprised by the Ubi win, to be honest with you. Of the third parties, I would have ranked Ubi third.
So let's see. It was so voting was Ubi was first, EA was second, and Bethesda was last.
Yeah, I probably would have went EA first, Bethesda second, then Ubi last. But I mean, that's to everybody. I guess their own is different. I really enjoyed EA's conference. I thought they had, and you know what? I give a lot of credit. They bring the same sports titles every year, which I know a lot of people go, oh god, there's FIFA and Madden again. This year they brought FIFA and Madden and they tried to bring something new to them, and I give them a lot of credit for that. Also, they had A Way Out, and then they had Anthem, like Battlefront. Like, I kind of thought that's probably as good as an EA conference you're ever going to get, to be honest with you. That conference was really good. I don't know what else you could have wanted.
I don't think you're necessarily wrong there, Donnie, but just when I look at the number of games from EA that I'm going to play compared to the number of games from the Ubisoft show that I'm going to play, it's night and day for me. Now, that doesn't mean I thought EA had a bad show.
Yeah, no.
I just, it's just I just preferred what Ubi had in the lineup speaks more to me than EA's does.
Yeah, and we talked about that. Everybody had a good show.
Absolutely.
We're splitting hairs here.
Yeah, so actually, yeah, I'm trying to look here now, and I think actually, even for me being the Bethesda fanboy I am, there's still more games on Ubisoft's roster that I'll be playing.
Right. Well, Bethesda didn't
so,
bring quantity, but they brought 2017. Like, they're just like, here's all the games, and they all come this year, like right now, which I love. Like that, I really want the E3 show to be that. That's kind of what I thought it used to be.
I agree.
And I kind of feel like that's its best space to come back to. Is it should be the fall primer, and then let Nintendo Directs and let Gamescom and PSX let that prime through up until E3, and then E3 should be here's your holiday lineup for this year. I personally, this is just me personally, I'd like to get away from and coming out 2018, and we'll see you next E3 where we'll show you another trailer of this exact same game. Like, I would love to get away from that.
Yeah, just have what's gonna be out before
this
the next E3.
Yes,
because I'm even okay with like Far Cry, which is February.
Sure,
I'm fine with that. That's not too out of there. All right, so we should probably start wrapping it up. But before I do, because he's pouting and he's hurting a little bit inside, Nathan, do you have any final thoughts on E3? Because I know Star Wars won for our favorite, and Microsoft had its moment, but I know you're a little disappointed with the way that came out. So any final thoughts, sir? The stage is yours.
I'm pouting?
You looked like you were pouting a little bit on the mic. You looked very disgruntled.
I was in deep thought. I was like, how does this happen? No, but it's just
massive disbelief. He's just shocked.
So
he's trying to figure out who from Xbox voted it otherwise and didn't vote Xbox. Like, who did it?
He's about to kick them out of their guild, or
he's angry. Who did this?
It's not that. It's fine. But I fail to see how, in my mind, my favorite conference overall and this is not just the fanboy talking, was Microsoft. They showed 42 games. They showed new hardware. They gave you a launch date for that new hardware, and new games are going to come out with that new hardware. They announced a new feature with backwards compatibility for original Xbox games. Phil Spencer came out and talked about their mission, about their statement, about what they want to do. They had fantastic games on the stage. They had Anthem on the stage. They had Metro on the stage. It was a great show. I don't see how I'm baffled. You go back, you look at it. It was broadcast out in 4K and it looked fantastic. They gave you free games if you watched it on Mixer. What more can you want, people?
I think the biggest thing, at least for me, Nathan, and you kind of brought up, as you said, you just ran through everything they announced, and I was like, oh yeah, they did do that. Oh yeah, that was kind of cool. I don't think people remembered. I don't think it stuck with them, except for a couple of the highlights, like your anthems. Like, I bet most people, if you went to the casual, not as obsessed as we are, they wouldn't even remember what Metro was. They might say, hey, I remember that game, but they couldn't tell you the name of that game or stuff like that. I think some of that took it away, where yes, you announce game after game after game, and Xbox exclusive, world launch exclusive, over and over and over again. But then people forgot what they just saw 10, 15 minutes ago because it was just boom, 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 boom.
That's inevitable when you show that many games.
Exactly. I think that's what it is. So I think it might have been almost too much in a short period of time, whereas everybody else was so scaled back with what they showed, where Xbox was like, we're going to throw it all on the table. And it just kind of stood out in that regard that, hey, they showed so much stuff. I can't remember everything they showed. So I think it might have kind of backfired for them a little bit in those regards. That's all I'm saying.
So what I'm hearing is before E3, Microsoft has no games.
Yep.
Now what I'm hearing after E3, Microsoft has too many games.
No, well,
Microsoft showed too many games, and a lot of those games, to be honest, weren't games of any real substance that needed to be showcased at E3 on the big stage.
There you go. That's the point that Kevin should be making more staunchly. Xbox had games. No, Nathan, Xbox had games. I mean, I have an Xbox. I'm going to be playing games. If you're asking me how many games that I remember, I don't know if I could name 10 of the 42 that were shown. Maybe, including some of the third parties. Like, I know Assassin's Creed was there, I know Anthem was there, but the ones I'm excited about, Ori, that last night indie game that I saw, like Crackdown 3, State of Decay, like I've really got 5 that I pulled away from that. Typically when you launch new hardware, typically you get more first party IP, especially like launches with it, like exclusives. And I think that first party stable, or at least from, if I'm reading the tea leaves from my impressions, from the impressions I saw on Twitter, I think a lot of people expect that. And I think they've been conditioned to expect that because that's what Nintendo and Sony do. And I don't think that's necessarily fair to hold Xbox to that same standard, but I'd actually think that is the standard that they're being held to is, okay, you're launching this new hardware and we get it that all these games are going to play better on it. But like typically when you launch hardware, here's 10 exclusive games that come out with it, and Xbox.
So how many exclusives do you want? I mean, so let me just go through this list that I had from our previous show here. Forza 7, PlayerUnknown Battleground. Well, that's going to be a time exclusive. Never mind. State of Decay 2, Minecraft with the true cross-platforming. I mean, this is a huge announcement. The true cross-platforming between Minecraft and Rocket League. Okay, well, let's just sidestep that. Nobody talks about that, but that's huge. Sea of Thieves, Tacoma, Cuphead, Crackdown 3. There's a slew of the ID at Xbox games that are going to be exclusive, possibly forever, possibly for a short amount of time.
Sea of Thieves is out next year.
What'd you say? It's not exclusive?
Tacoma. It's not exclusive.
I meant Super Lucky's Tale, not Tacoma.
There you go.
Super Lucky's Tale.
I just laughed that announcement off. Like
Ori and the Will of the Wisp. Hey, Super Lucky's Tale comes out at $30.
Yeah, no, honestly, no, watching that, and I didn't want to say anything in the chat when we were watching the Xbox conference. I'm like, oh, this actually looks like a lot of fun. That's why I was laughing, because I was like, I actually kind of liked that game when I saw it. I was like, hey, this is something I wouldn't expect Xbox to put out. So, yes, okay.
Yeah, so sorry. It's a console for everything. Those titles that I all went through, and did I mention Ori, are all console exclusives. How many exclusives do you need to walk away from? How many exclusives did PlayStation show? AAA exclusives that aren't VR. How many did Nintendo show? How many does Xbox show?
Every one of Nintendo's is exclusive.
How many did they show,
Rocket League?
How many did they show?
Like 10.
10 exclusives.
Yeah, but the difference is not all exclusives are equal, right? So like
this
you can right, you can like Super Lucky's Tale. That's great, Nathan. I don't mean to demean the game. I hope it's like, if it's amazing, I'll play it for sure. But I mean, you're talking about if you're just comparing, like Nintendo had Yoshi and they had Fire Emblem, and they had Fire Emblem Warriors, and they had Xenoblade, and they had Mario.
And that I'm comparing people
like,
saying that Xbox has no exclusives. These are exclusives.
Sure, it has exclusives. It has exclusives, but the exclusives aren't carrying weight in the echo chamber.
Right, they're not the big exclusives. So
that's because the echo chamber is flawed.
Well, sure, but here's the thing. So Forza, in my list out of those ones there, Forza was probably the biggest one. Here's my gripe. Forza just came out last year. I don't need
Forza
another
Horizon.
And the year before that, and the year before that.
Right,
that's a difference.
There is a difference.
Madden came out last year.
Well, I mean, no, that's different. That's different than that. But I get that, Nathan. But I'm just saying, it's like, it doesn't have that excitement. Like, oh my God, there's
a new Halo, Fable.
Right.
Gears
It
of
doesn't
War.
carry those kind of weight where you're like, oh yes, it's like, okay, well, Madden comes out every year, Assassin's Creed comes out every year or two, so I'm not gonna be super like, yes, like you raising your hands up when you saw, Battlefront 2, and it was like drastically different. This Forza and the last Forza is not super drastically different. Plus, you still have DLC. You still have DLC coming out for the last one, and you're talking about the next game that's out already. Hot Wheels just came out, and you're like,
before you keep talking yourself into a hole here, Kevin.
Okay.
Ooh.
Forza Motorsport 6 came out 2 years ago, does not still have DLC coming out. Forza Horizon 3 came out last year, does not still have DLC coming out after Hot Wheels content that just came out.
Most gamers just look at Forza as a car game, and it's just another car game. It's
just another car game. As just another Mario game? As Metroid? As just another Metroid game?
Exactly, and that's why people get excited when they show something that makes it look new.
Do they think there's 2 Mario games coming out this year because you have the Rabbids and you have Odyssey?
Maybe like 2 Mario games coming out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, actually, maybe some people might.
But one's a Rabbids game. One is not Mario.
The difference here,
so there's Mario.
There's a major difference here. There's a major difference in the echo chamber. If I'm trying to explain to you the echo chamber, and I like the resistance, so I want to keep kneeling into this.
Donnie's the resistor.
Yeah, I enjoy. I always enjoyed arguing. So
no,
the difference here is that Xbox is one behind their counterpart in just total sales. 2, they're launching new hardware that costs more than the counterpart. So when people were excited for this show, it's because they and I'll raise my hand. I said it in all of our prediction stuff. What did I say? Xbox has got something. They're coming out new Scorpio. They got this big powerful box. They got something we don't know about. That something we don't know about was Ori, which that's probably I voted for it. Ori was my title, but Ori is not going to sell Xbox One X's. That's it. I mean, that's the reason why, if you're looking at the echo chamber, and our echo chamber is people that buy more than one console. I mean, that's our echo chamber. We are gaming enthusiasts. Even if you only buy 1 or 2, but most people buy more than one, and they're definitely very knowledgeable of all. They wanted to be sold. They wanted a big tentpole reason to go and buy the brand new Xbox. And
they don't care if you buy the new Xbox, though. They just want you to play on their system. They say they buy the titles.
I'm very certain that they do.
This is what Phil Spencer said, and he says he doesn't care if you buy the new console.
He just wants you to buy an Xbox, right?
And they have a $200 Xbox for you to go buy right now off the shelves, and have Game Pass and all this stuff to play on.
Game Pass isn't the reason. Game Pass is great for somebody like Jason, somebody that's not in the ecosystem, somebody that doesn't have a library, somebody that wants to get in for cheap. That's a great initiative. I love it. I agree with you. But is Game Pass going to make somebody go buy an Xbox?
Wait, so I'm gonna play devil's advocate now. I'm gonna just side with Nathan here right now.
Let's do it. I'm all for it. Let's do it. We'll do this. We'll do an entire separate show on.
No, we're not going to go on much.
Cons of Xbox.
We're not going much longer. But so Nathan brought up a good point. So I am seriously on the fence about buying it. Now at this point, it looks like if Josh upgrades, I'm buying his. Yep. So it looks like one way or the other, within the next year, I'm going to have an Xbox.
Sure.
Okay. So for me, as Nathan said, Phil Spencer is just interested in getting more gamers on Xbox because right now they're trailing behind. So there's no need in their strategic goals right now to drop another Halo, to bring another Gears of War. They're just simply bringing more content so that when people like me jump on, oh, I can play this, and I can play this, and I can play this. Because to be honest, games like Cuphead, like, stuff I can access on the Games Pass, that's going to be stuff that I'm going to jump to right first. before I jump to Forza and stuff like that. So it looks almost like, and Nathan may side with me or may not, that it looks almost like what Xbox is doing right now is they're trying to cater to the audience they already have and keep them interested and engaged while trying to make an appeal to get other people to jump on. If they're not buying a X1, 1X, Box X1, X, Super X, whatever, that's fine. But as long as they're buying some sort of green and black box, logoed box, then they're happy with that. So that's what I think.
My counterpoint to you, Kevin, you
I'm
already own all of the other options. You own a PC, you own a Switch, you own a PlayStation. You bought all of them before you ever even considered buying an Xbox. And now you're considering buying an Xbox primarily because the price has dropped so low. And you're looking at the content that you don't have access to that you would like to buy. How many of you do you think there's really out there?
I bet
do you really think there's 400 million Kevins out there that own PlayStation, Switch, and Super PCs, and now they want to buy an Xbox? Now all of a sudden it's going to like balloon. Here comes the Xbox wave. Now
I bet all those people who went from Xbox 360 and snagged a PS4 early on and never had a reason to buy an Xbox One now are thinking about coming home.
You think they're now thinking about it?
Yep.
Now. Yep. Because of the games that are coming out now.
No, because of the price drop and saying, okay, well, I'm not going to invest another $400 in another box for.
I don't think anybody's. But that's the problem that you run into with the mid cycle upgrade. You're saying that I'm seeing a lot of people are going now with the price drop. What I'm telling you is that the people that are going now with the price drop already own another box. This isn't their people aren't on the fence anymore. There's not people sitting there playing Xbox 360 games going, which one do I buy? Dude, that time is come and gone. How many people have bought consoles this year? How many people have bought consoles to this point? There's 30 million Xboxes. There's 60 million PlayStation 4s. There's almost 5 million Nintendo Switches, right? It's like over 70 million people have bought consoles. So it's not like there's another 100 million people out there from last gen that haven't bought something yet.
Okay,
they already have something to play.
But does Microsoft care that you own a PlayStation as long as you're buying an Xbox? No,
I agree with you. I agree with you. That's the point. That I agree with you on. There is the PlayStation 4 gamer out there that is probably looking at the cheap price of the Xbox going, hey, I could check out that Forza Horizon 3 because that game was so good and everybody said something about it. But that's still not going to be their primary platform. No. And that's not going to sell Xbox One X's. And you wouldn't be bringing product to market if you didn't want to sell it. Like Nathan, they want to sell it. They have goals in mind. It's not like if a year from now, if they sell 1 million Xbox One X's, that's a failure. I'm not going to buy into this. Xbox One X is PlayStation VR. And if we sell 1 million in the first year, we'll be happy.
They're going to sell the number of Xbox One X's that they sell of Elite controllers.
I think that's a great call.
That is a great call. And I think that number's over 1 million.
And I guarantee you that was their justification to greenlight the system, was that Elite controller. If people want to pay extra for this, they already have an option. But if they want this option, for that extra, ability to change your buttons around for the paddles, for the sticks and everything else, they want to have that option for people. And there was enough people that showed interest on it. It was sold out forever. Yep. They underestimated how many people wanted it. Mm-hmm. And so I guarantee that those people, like me, are the ones who are going to get the X. But going back to my other point, Kevin, you have, as to now, not been on an Xbox platform. So,
Xbox One platform. I had a 360.
Sorry, yes, Xbox One platform. So you have at your disposal all the exclusive titles that have come out since it came. Mm-hmm. So you have the Dead Rising games. You have Rise. You have what's the game that you like, Donnie? The
Ori
skater game? No, the skater game.
Overdrive?
Sunset Overdrive. Sunset's great.
You have
Power Star Golf.
Power Star Golf.
Power Star Golf's amazing.
You have a ton of indie titles, to be honest. There's a ton out there. There's the Forza series on the Horizon and Motorsport front. There's a lot of games for you right now to play if you were to pick it up. And that's, I think, Donnie, what you're missing is that, yeah, people have the PlayStation or the Nintendo or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, I missed out on Sunset and they're making Spider-Man. Maybe I should check out this game. Or, oh yeah, GT is coming out. I heard that Forza is better. Maybe I'll pick up an Xbox on the cheap and check out Motorsport instead. It's one of those things where if something clicks in someone's mind, like, oh, I can't play that game, someone else is talking about it, they're going to go look for that option now because they don't have it.
Nathan, Kevin, I don't disagree with you. I love the idea that you're painting the picture that everybody's like Tawny. and everybody's going to buy all these boxes. But we know from history that that's not the case. It's diminishing returns. I don't think there's 60 million PlayStation 4 owners out there that are justifying buying a $200 Xbox One. You're not going to sell me on that fact. There might be 10 million PlayStation 4 owners out there that are like, those exclusives now are enough that I will go over and play those. But still, those owners still aren't going to be primary Xbox players, right? That's what Xbox needs. They need primary Xbox players. People that are going to buy Destiny on Xbox. People that are going to buy Madden on Xbox. That's what they need. They don't need people that just buy Xboxes like Donnie does just for the handful of games that they want to play.
All three of you guys had a 360, correct?
I did.
Yeah.
I had 2.
And I had like 4.
So
something like that.
So just out of curiosity, do any of you still have 360 games?
Nope, sold them all.
No. Well, did my backwards compatibility library count?
So I'm just thinking now, just out loud, people who went to PlayStation 4 when the new consoles came, and then if they look at backwards compatibility as any sort of beacon of hope to play the content that they have in their drawers. I have a drawer that has literally, a stack of Xbox original games. I have a ton of 360 games that I can play on my Xbox One. So is there anybody out there that you see, Donnie, that would say, Xbox is the legacy platform now for consoles. I can play Xbox to Xbox One games on the same console. Does that do anything for anybody, do you think?
I think there is. I think you can find an example of that. Do I think that example is a large market? I don't. From the casual gamers that I know, from having worked in GameStop and frequently GameStop and helped people buy consoles from people at work and my friends, my cousins and my family, those folks usually don't. They don't care about old games. They want to play the new game. It's the new game comes out, Call of Duty comes out, Battlefront comes out. Battlefront was a huge one for me. Like when Battlefront came out, I had a ton of people at work, family, hey, new Star Wars game, it looks awesome. I want to play it. What do I need to do? And they're just looking at me to point them in a direction. And it's like, well, this is the best box or that's the best value. And here's the best deal. Nobody came to me and said, I had Xbox 360 for 7 years. I've got 100 games on my account. And most people don't even know what they're, I told you the story on our Slack chat. I don't even know what is my cousin's husband. Is it cousin-in-law? What is that even? I don't even know what that is.
Sounds about
my
right.
cousin-in-law, whatever. He's 38. Okay. He's got 3 kids. He had an Xbox 360 for a decade. He bought an Xbox One for Battlefront. Didn't even consult me. We were sitting down having dinner. I'm telling them like, hey, I run placeofvideogames.com. It's a blog, it's a podcast. I'm doing I'm trying to get us another listener. And he goes, that's cool. I have an Xbox. I go, that's awesome. What do you play? And he goes, play Battlefront. I go, do you play anything else? He goes, no, I just play Battlefront. And I'm like, that's cool. Do you subscribe to Live? And he's like, what's Live? It's totally been an Xbox customer and client for like a decade. He didn't even know what Live was. Now, I'm not saying that he's the majority, but like I was kind of astonished to find out that he just paid for it because he wanted to play online. And I asked him, I was like, you realize you get like games every month that you can keep forever? And he was like, I had no idea. And I had to show him. I had to go to his Xbox. You see this games with gold label in the corner? That's a free game that you can download and play forever. And he hadn't been doing it forever. He hadn't been doing it at all. Just for a decade. Like since like 2008. That's what he was doing. And I had to explain to him. So I often think, as I always do, like we're not the people. I have an Xbox. I'm not trying to shoot down your sales pitch for the Xbox. I love the Xbox. Forza Horizon 3 is amazing. Kevin, whenever you get it, you should totally play it. The game is freaking awesome. It's better than ARMS. It's way better than ARMS.
That's not saying much.
I love video games. I have a Vita. I still is like on my 3rd Vita. I will, if there's a game out there that I really want to play, I'll find a way to play it. It's just that the majority of those of us, like we're not the majority. Like we're very much not. Like most people walk into GameStop and they go, I want to play Call of Duty. And the GameStop person goes, you should buy a PlayStation. And that's it. Like, that's it. That's how most people call the decision. And it's whoever tells them what to buy. And I don't think anybody's being told what to buy because they want to play Xbox 360 games.
Actually,
go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I haven't said anything, so I'm
No,
just
I
gonna say
know,
like two things, and then I'll be quiet again. So I'm actually disappointed that backwards compatibility was announced after I sold all my 360 stuff, because I would have been able to get more money for it had it been announced ahead of time. So that's my disappointment there. And I think Xbox is a fantastic platform. I played a lot of 360. I think overall the platform is solid. In the entire Microsoft press conference, there was one game I really wanted to play that I could not play on PlayStation. So for me as a gamer, and early in the cycle is actually when PlayStation almost lost me, because the lack of exclusives that they had, and the indie games were what were keeping me there. They had some good time things for indies. Now this year, I think they've had 15 exclusives released since January 1st that are like 80 or higher on OpenCritic. Like, it is raining exclusives on PlayStation right now. So for me, I have more to play than I could ever imagine playing. Not like backwards compatibility. I wouldn't even be thinking about it because I have way too much new stuff to play. So that's just the situation that I'm in. I think Xbox is a fantastic platform. I think that they do online far better than PlayStation does. Like, they have a lot of really great things going for it. For me, with where I am, I just have so much to play with PlayStation right now. There's no incentive. If I was going to get a new console this fall, it'd be a Switch. I don't even have time for that. So for me, that's just where I'm at as a PlayStation person who plays a lot of niche games that PlayStation delivers. I have too much to play as it is.
Okay,
I think
Nathan, final thoughts. Give Nathan the final thoughts.
And this is my last thing I'm going to say. So I just want to go through this again and understand why this is the way it is perceived. But so from this conference alone, they announced the backwards compatibility for original Xbox, in addition to the 360 that they already have a title of, I think, 300 or so games now or more. Mm-hmm. And they also announced the multi-platform cross-platforming with Minecraft and Rocket League between PC and Switch. And, they announced the not price drop, the temporary price sale, whatever you want to call it, for the Xbox One X that effectively made it $200 with a game. So you look at that console that's also a premier 4K Blu-ray player and a Wi-Fi device and all this other stuff that you can have all this technology in it if you want to. I just don't see, like, Microsoft is, I think over the years, rightfully so, got a bad rep. And they're struggling their way up from that. And they're doing a fantastic job, but that shadow still looms large over them. But right now, looking at this console that they put out, I'm not even talking about the X. The S at $200 is a no-brainer for me. And I hate that term. No-brainer, because it denotes no logical thinking ability. If you think about it logically and you go through the paces and you say, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One X, for me personally, wanting the best experience for TV, apps, looking at Blu-ray, looking at playing the games in my closet, in my drawer, I go to the Xbox. And it just makes sense to me. And that's aside from anything else. And I have a PlayStation. I have a Switch. And I don't understand why there's still this negative stigma towards Microsoft in general and the Xbox in general. And it's one of those things where people are, again, kind of going back to what we said earlier with E3 this year was, subpar. And that, again, leaning because of PlayStation's display, we'll call it. But Xbox brought it. Xbox brought everything. And I don't understand what else they could do to make you guys happy. Well, that's all I'm saying.
I think they should start with making you not want to have to play your games inside your closet and inside your drawer. That just sounds terribly uncomfortable. But all right. So I will put the final ruling on this. Nathan's right. Donnie's wrong just because I say so. So yeah, go out and buy your Xboxes, boys and girls. We've gone on way too long. So let's wrap it up. But before we go, let's all, let everybody know where they can find us, link up with us. And Donnie disconnected and went home. So I don't know what's going on there. There he is. So yeah, where can people find?
He didn't go home.
I know. He is at home. Where can people find you, Nathan? What else do you want to plug while we're here before we go say goodbye?
I'm impassioned right now for some reason. I think it's the Irish whiskey. I can be found on Twitter at Voiced by Nathan. I also do a podcast called That's Entertaining, which I put out an episode as we record right now yesterday, where Mo and I discussed Wonder Woman. It was a good talk. If you're interested in listening to that, that's over there for you to listen at this point. And yeah, I did a lot of stuff over at the website for Xbox Week leading up into E3. Go back and check out that, as well as I did a lot of reaction content for E3 and some podcasts. So there's a ton of content out there for you to go over on the YouTube site, as well as on the website, playsomevideogames.com.
And you can also find Nathan in his closet.
Oh, not my closet, but I'm also on Xbox at Spider Jedi, so I want to add that in there.
There you go. Kyle, where can people find you and anything else you'd like to plug?
So you can find me on Twitter or the PlayStation Network at Psychocross, CYCOCROSS. Obviously, tons of content from E3. Working on a review for Next Machina as well, so that'll be coming out soon. And to make Nathan's day, hopefully, just so he knows, when the week before I went to New Orleans, I was having a conversation with someone about what console they should buy, and I recommended they buy an Xbox One S. So
because you're fair and balanced, sir.
Well, I mean, there are situations where absolutely, and in this person's situation, buying a PlayStation 4 made no sense for them. So, but hey, if you stuck with us this far, thanks for listening to this whole episode.
And speaking of making no sense, Donnie, where can people find you, and what else would you like to plug?
I
love you, Donnie.
Jesus.
Look at this, guys.
I pay money for this type of treatment.
You love it. You love it, Donnie.
That's a cruel and unusual thing.
This is therapy for you.
Nathan, I bought an Xbox One S. I didn't tell somebody to buy one. I actually bought one.
I know you did.
Dang. You can find me on Twitter at Playing Nintendo. You can also find me on Xbox Live playing Xbox games at Playing Nintendo. You can't find me on PSN at Playing Nintendo because I haven't been able to change my name in like 8 years.
Nope.
You know, one thing, Kevin, tell me if you can recall or reminisce about any of this. Listening to Nathan's passionate cry. It reminds me so much of the Wii U's second or third year when they came out that direct and they were like, here's Smash Brothers and here's Kart. And it was like, there's no reason not to buy a Wii U now. It's like you got a price drop, and it's like still nobody bought it.
I bought it.
You're just like on the, you're just like on the tail end. I was just hearing Nathan. I was like, it brings back so many of those memories. I remember going to so many gamers, and I was like, why would you not? Like Amiibo, Smash Brothers, Car, they're all coming. They're coming now, and it's like it's price cut, and yeah, it didn't matter.
Wow.
It didn't matter then either. So. Yeah, come follow us on Twitter at PSVG. We just cracked 1,000 followers today. Nothing. It's just everybody's so tired. Like, whatever. I'm done. You know what? I'll stop.
1,000 followers is actually a really great landmark. So that's awesome. To any new followers, new watchers, new listeners, welcome. We love to have you guys tweet at us, talk to us. Donnie and I are always on Twitter. I think Kevin, you are sometimes too. Even Kyle.
I'm not allowed to have the Twitter.
No.
Everybody's allowed to have the Twitter.
I will say, let's see how many followers we lose after this episode. See if we still have 1,000 by the next one.
No, I feel like this was a pretty fair and balanced discussion, like all the way around. Like
I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, no, it was good.
I feel like, in some aspects, I do kind of represent Microsoft, and I'm like, what more do you guys need?
It's just like music, right? There's cycles, and some people ride the wave on top, and then they like everything that you're saying, Nathan. Now, I'm sure Kyle thought in 2009, right? Like it's like Kyle was like, they came out with the PS3 Slim, and we only have exclusives, and it's a price cut. Why are you all buying 360s? And it's just how it's just people buy into what's hot, and it's all that matters is what gets popular.
Before we go, I gotta say this because you mentioned the PS3. Y'all remember what that launched at, right? The price? Okay.
Like $590, right?
That's right. Absolutely insane. So, all right. So I think we covered everything. Website, playsomevideogames.com. Email us, podcast at playsomevideogames.com. Twitter at PSVG. Facebook.com/playsomevideogames. YouTube.com/playsomevideogames. And whether you're playing on...
Also, wait, one more thing. Earlier, we mentioned don't listen to a certain podcast.
No, I said listen to them.
Okay.
I said
specifically
don't
said
let-
go listen to it.
I said don't because Kevin's instruction wasn't genuine.
You said
to my
listen to the
friends.
podcast. I made a recommendation.
To my friends over at the Married to the Games podcast, I love you. We love you. Let's play some video games, guys. It's all good. We all win.
No,
We're all
that's a
winners.
participation award.
We're all
Donnie's
winners.
very specific about that. But no, it's all safe. I was just poking fun because I know they won't talk about Nintendo. That's all.
That's not true.
That is true. Don't even go there. You know it's true.
No, it's actually not true. I love you, Kyle, Kevin, Donnie, everybody.
Nathan, do you know who you're on the show with?
All right. You know what? Whether you guys are playing on a Switch or you're playing on a PS4 or an Xbox One S or an Xbox One X, X1, One X, One X1, or an original Game Boy in that lime green and gray color scale, it's just most importantly that you guys never stop gaming.